All right, and we are live. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the FNAFBACK podcast. I'm Withered Circle.
And I'm Knife Wrong. And today, for the first time ever on this podcast, we're joined by two fellow FNAF theorists. So go ahead and introduce yourselves.
Hi, I'm Corey.
And I'm Connie.
And
We have a
we
delay
are.
this time.
we
Are we
are
trying to
process
say it in
theory.
unison? Are we saying it in unison now? Is that what we're
Do
going?
it. Go for it.
Oh,
Go for it. Go
no.
for it.
Okay. Wait, but there's a delay between us now. We're in different states now.
And they are dual process theory.
We are dual
We are
process.
dual process theory.
Oh God, it's horrible.
Yeah, we're both here. We're just both super excited to be here.
Yeah, we're excited to have you.
Yeah.
So,
All right, we
for those
gotta
of you
focus. We're shifting into FNAF mode.
So we are going to be talking about Golden Freddy today, as you could tell by the title. We've got quite a few questions, and we will be, as always, accepting questions from chatters. So if you have any questions, you can send them to the email that's on screen right now, or you can just send them in chat. If you want to practically guarantee that we see your question, I suggest sending those questions to the email, but you can put them in chat, that's totally fine. So, while you're thinking of your questions, or just listening, that's okay, let's jump into our first question. And this is more of a general one before we get into details. Since your big, 1 million plus view video, has anything changed, has anything changed on who you think Golden Freddy is?
No,
Since the video,
not really.
we're gonna get to the Hyperdroid thing, which was a very good
We'll
video. But we are gonna say the basic answer is we haven't changed our minds, but other interpretations are fun and valid.
Yeah, it's just like there's been other stuff has come up, but nothing has there's been some oh, that's interesting, but nothing has fully swayed us. It's just yeah, that could be it, but So right now,
and also
seems...
before we start anything else, do want to let chat know if you're not following our YouTube updates, we have not finished playing Into the Pit yet because we do not have a PC. We only have the Switch, and the Switch version soft locks you halfway through night 4. So we know everything up through night 4 and the arcade mini games. That's about all we got. So if you're gonna ask something like, "Oh, what about this in night 5?" We don't know. We don't know.
Yeah, leave that to us.
Yeah.
So I guess you haven't had any changes.
Matter too much, but
yeah.
No,
you
not
got
really.
to night 4. I think that's an okay point where you know most of the important stuff.
Yeah, I think it's almost everything you know.
We're not gonna we've got a doc here pulled up. We're not gonna go in order of the questions. We're gonna go by my own whimsy because I'm like that.
Okay.
I just we have some more general questions. We have some more specifics. Just a quick question that I wanted to ask about the identity of the Golden Freddy spirit.
Oh, so many people are chatting.
Do you think that the blonde kid from the FNAF movie is meant to be Cassidy?
Oh boy.
Or a parallel to Cassidy, changing
depends on who
Cassidy's
you're
gender?
asking.
Corey, let me answer first. Corey is not.
I'm not
personally,
convinced.
yeah, okay. I personally think that it is supposed to be Cassidy Afton. Corey's not convinced. She has her own theories, which is, part of the dual process thing. We both have our own opinions, and we work together with them. I personally think it is just because they went out of the way to give him the same hair color as Vanessa, the striped shirt, and the interaction with Afton at the end. And Afton telling Vanessa the mess that you created.
Again, I think that's just about the fact that she didn't kill him when he told her to. It's I wouldn't have to have dragged my ass over here if you killed him.
Yeah,
now I have
do
to do
think
it.
It's Cassidy Afton. Corey's not convinced, but again, that's dual process. We both have ideas.
It could be, it could not be. There's possibility it's a different version, this universe's version of a different. I mean, there's so far every FNAF universe we've seen has had a different dark color and striped shirt.
I think Garrett.
I do think very much that Garrett is the puppet, though. But yeah, that's a good point.
Oh, Garrett. Yeah, people have also said Garrett puppet, which I wouldn't be surprised.
I would not be surprised actually.
But I think it is
that's,
suspicious
if you're wondering,
that they don't have. I do think it is also suspicious that they don't have Mike in. Mike never sees Golden Freddy in the movie. He doesn't know that thing exists. Like, he
Yeah.
knows about the
But
blonde-haired kid, but he doesn't know about Golden Freddy, which I think is
I
suspicious.
did, like, that's why, in case anyone's wondering, in our video, I did, have, like, B-roll footage of movie Golden Freddy when talking about it, but I didn't, like, directly bring that up as a point just because I respect Corey's opinion.
Mhm.
We have different ones, but, like, yeah, I did use that as, like, B-roll when talking about, like, Golden Freddy and
Cry
stuff.
Child, yeah, that kinda stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, okay. I
Speaking of
do.
which, B-roll, B-roll, if yeah, you know what? You guys go ahead.
Yeah, go
No,
ahead.
no, I'm
What?
interested in, you know what, sure, we'll go on the B-roll tangent soon. Nah, you know what, you pick a question from the doc to ask. Definitely not because I accidentally
Okay.
closed the doc. I'm being nice to you.
Okay.
We'll take turns. I think this is a
Interesting.
good sequence.
Okay. What do we do? Okay, what do we do? Is MCI 83 still canon? What about Into the Pit? I think it's presumably. What
No.
does Into the Pit say about it?
Sure.
What do you guys think? Is 80?
It could be
I
either or.
really
I think with our theory, it doesn't, and how it's laid out, especially with like Crying Child Cassidy was like alive, how long they were alive and just like incapacitated, not exactly in a coma, just not able to do a whole lot due to how frontal lobe stuff um is that the amount of time doesn't really matter. So in the context of our theory, it doesn't really matter if it was 83 or 85. Because with stuff I've seen in Into the Pit, I wouldn't be surprised if it's not game canon. Because again, every time something comes out, people are like, "What is canon? What is it canon? Or what's in the same canon or same
Yeah,
continuity?" Because of how
continuity.
Scott
Scott's
likes it.
confusing.
Continuity. Because he's fancy.
Mm-hmm.
I honestly, right now, I don't, unless there's a very convincing. Don't think the books and the games are connected. With Man in Room 1280, he has an arm. Scrap Trap does not. I don't think there's anything you can really say to convince me. As well as just with One You Should Not Have Killed stuff. But
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised if the Into the Pit game is just in that set in that same continuity. It's just a retelling. It doesn't need to be moved over. But even if it is, all it could canonize is that that it was 85, which isn't, doesn't affect a whole lot. We originally said that it probably was 83, but you know what? Like, it's been 85 for a while, so I wouldn't be surprised, and it probably is, but I
Yeah.
don't think it matters too much.
More likely, which does give William more time to fuck around and experiment before he just starts shoving kids into suits. But what I do think Into the Pit definitely canonized for me is that the cupcake is 100% Susie's dog. Like,
absolutely.
That thing is her dog, right?
Like,
Yeah, I believe it.
in the journal, they're like, this thing growls at people. And
Yeah.
Like, who programmed it to growl? And I'm like, oh my god!
The part of our follow-up video where we're like, what if Afton like experimented on Susie's dog, got it into the cupcake, and then started doing that to kids? I think that might be like the actual.
As we mentioned in the follow-up, a lot of scientists, just in general, will do animal testing first. So I wouldn't be surprised if Susie's dog was some type of quote unquote animal testing.
Yeah.
Or just ended up being like that. I don't know. Or he was like, or he hit the dog
its owner crying and.
No,
Also,
and he saw its owner crying and was like, I have a great idea. I'm about to be the funniest man alive.
Someone has, I think we did say this, but it does mean that Afton was technically right. He did know where her dog was, and that's just like, that's just messed up.
That's even creepier.
Yeah.
That's even creepier.
William strikes me as Thanos, where he lies all the time. Of course he does.
He's
but
purple.
He also reminds me of like Vanessa would be like, there'd be a scene where she's like, William's a lot of things. A liar's not one of them. Even though we know he lies, it makes sense for him to do that.
Yeah, he would be. I mean, because he's
sorry to interrupt.
He's definitely dramatic.
Hey, sorry to interrupt. We've got some people in chat saying that there's issues with the audio. I'm gonna like drop out for like a minute. Like everyone's audio. I think it's on my side. You're good. So I'm gonna drop out for a minute. Keep talking, and I'm gonna go try to fix it. Okay. So yeah, I'll be right back.
Okay. Yeah, your audio is like cutting out.
We were talking about William lying off his ass.
Yeah, he seems very dramatic to me. He strikes me as someone who's dramatic. Which I mean, as far as I can tell, a lot of people in his career, and by career I mean serial killer, kind of are dramatic.
Yeah.
Because
But
they all think they're so important and special when
yeah,
really they're
and
just idiots.
yeah, and he's like, what's dramatic irony? Like he would be like, I mean, you've heard his like voice lines in Pizzeria Sim. He's
Yeah, he's
like,
so
how
cocky.
bittersweet. Like he's so dramatic.
I knew it was gonna be a trap, of course, but it was interesting
Obvious.
nonetheless.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is what happens when you put a theater kid into business class.
Yeah. He becomes a
He
serial
starts-
killer.
Starts killing people.
Yeah.
Which, like, speaking of which, like, again, Into the Pit, we haven't finished yet, but with Night 4, we can definitely see they're hammering home the 6 kids thing.
Yeah.
They and
So,
with the
like, I
arcade games, they
remember-
really like to hammer home there are 6.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
again, if this is just fully in the Frights canon, then like yeah, I mean we know there were 6, but I mean
Yeah.
there was technically also 6 in the original in the games as well, counting if you count Charlie.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I remember, because obviously, again, we don't know the spoilers. I don't know if Night 5 they show us all the kids or whatever, but
They don't.
I remember Rye was saying before the game dropped that, like, yeah, including Charlie also works with Help Wanted 2, like, having her with the other MCI.
Because Help Wanted 2, as we point out in the original video, when it comes to like if there were 2 spirits in Golden Freddy, that's when they would have shown any indication of that, and there was none. It was just Golden Freddy.
They literally had the Voltron
and
figures
there
lined
was only
up.
6. Yeah, like they could have
Speaking of which-
had it in 2 halves or something. I don't know.
Yeah,
Have 2
speaking of
of
which,
them.
pet teeth, those are not Transformers figures, those are Voltron figures. I
Yeah.
did
Oh,
not suffer
yeah.
in the Voltron trenches for y'all to not know what that is.
This is Help Wanted
I
2,
got out
right?
early. I watched like the first 2 episodes and I was like, and forgot to finish it. And then a few years later, I was like, they're doing what?
Yeah, I got out like season 3, I got bored, and then I like peeped in and I was like, they killed Allura?
Yeah,
What's
like
going on?
what's going on in there?
So we were on the
do you
6 kids, right? We were talking about the 6 kids. Because I left, so I didn't hear what we were. Okay.
Okay, maybe
Great.
we'd talk about that also for a little bit. I think we both have a similar opinion about that.
I'm not
which
sure
we
actually. I don't know
both-
what
think
your
we-
opinion is.
I won't speak for him actually. Well, okay, I won't. But I won't speak for you actually. But
But what's
I'm a
your
very
opinion?
Firm. Well, I feel like Into the Pit turned me into a very firm book and
Frights
Faster
games?
Fright reboot believer.
Okay, Frights 3. Yeah.
Frights games reboot believer. So
Frights
that's
Yeah.
so that's
reboot.
Also,
the
the idea of like they are going to be canon in the games, but in
But
a
different.
different way. I
Yeah.
can see that.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
like,
that's
so
my belief.
maybe. Yeah, so maybe it would. I think a lot of things would be changed. Of course, Cyrus Squawks made a whole video. Cyrus Squawks is perfect with that.
And
made a
maybe they
video
change, like maybe they're not
the,
gonna have Andrew be the one you should not have killed or something, and do some like. I mean, I could see them doing that. I would not be mad about that if they made
Corey,
a different
Cyrus
variation of
Squawks
the
is the
canon to
one
fit
who
into
made
games.
the Frights fiction video.
Yeah,
Just
Yeah,
for
Cyrus
context.
Squawks is.
which I can
he's-
also see.
he is-
I've been
It's cool.
honestly been leaning towards Fright Fiction for a bit, but I mean, again, I am so as a theorist, I am like, or for a theorist, I am so chill with just being like, on certain things that I
Yeah.
don't know yet. Like we'll get there, I
Mhm.
guess, or
Yeah.
we don't need to
Okay.
know.
Yeah. Mhm.
But if Stitch Wraith is going to be canon, I want to see official art of my boys Jake and Andrew, so we don't.
Yeah.
Oh, you
There's
don't
a
know.
sprite now,
Finally.
at least.
You don't know, do
Well,
you?
there's a sprite of the Stitch Wraith. I want.
It's quite literally canon.
I want to see what. Give us a sprite of Jake.
Mm-hmm.
Do we have a sprite of Jake? I don't think we do.
He's probably just going to be like a
I
crying
don't have any
child rehash.
illustrations of
Yeah, I feel like Frights games, Frights reboot. If it's true, it means that things can be connections in the games that are not exactly the same. So like, Eleanor will be a connection to Elizabeth, even though they're not the same. Jake will be a connection to Crying Child, even though they're not the same. Andrew will be a connection to Golden Freddy, maybe, possibly, but they're not the same if they are canon to the game.
So you guys have discovered what narrative parallels are?
Yeah.
Yippee!
No way.
I finally
Fun
did.
fact:
I broke
Five
out
Nights at
into it.
Freddy's has ruined the word parallel for a large amount of
Yes.
people. I feel like a lot of people don't know what parallel
Really?
Yeah,
means
probably.
anymore.
See, what people should have done is gotten into Sonic first, like I did.
Uh.
Every character is a narrative parallel to someone else in Sonic, and it's like, I mean, the best, like, I'm forgetting the word. What the hell? Example. The best example of this is Sonic and Shadow. They are not related
Yeah.
in any way. There's a lot of people who, from seeing the Shadow trailer, and a room full of people who haven't seen Sonic, Eggman did not make Shadow. Shadow was made like 50 years ago and then put into cryostasis. Shadow and Sonic are not connected in any way. They are not related. They are not like from the same DNA. Shadow wasn't made from Sonic. Shadow was
Yeah.
made well before Sonic was born, like a good 45 years. But they are absolutely narrative parallels. They're just not like
Mhm.
they just happen to look like each other and be perfect narrative parallels. I mean, Knuckles was a narrative parallel to Sonic at first as well, where they were like, well, instead of blue, he's red, and instead of a feet focus, we have a hand focus because Sonic runs and Knuckles punches. A narrative parallel.
That's like a that's a that's a physical contrast. So
yeah, but
is,
they are supposed to be narrative parallels as well. I mean, a lot of characters that Sonic hangs out with are narrative parallels, even if I mean, like Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, Blaze. Maybe not Amy. Amy's just kind of like when they first made her, they were like, "We need a girl, quick."
Yeah.
Oh,
Whenever you say Tails, it's totally
we're getting
different.
to that though. Connie is still working on
I
editing.
promise. Honestly, what's taking the longest with editing the Amy video is just getting B-roll because there's just so much Sonic stuff.
Yeah, it's the
where's that
opposite issue of
content?
FNAF, where like we're FNAF, like I had to make sprites for all the characters because there's just like no good variations of that are all consistent. Meanwhile, in Sonic, there's just too much stuff.
Well, and also, Corey, what I noticed is a lot of this, a lot of our FNAF video was us being like talking about the narrative and the writing, and most of what I'm editing for the Amy video right now is like, you need to look at this part, like, and so I need to edit in like a circle
visual,
and narrow. Like
that's true. It's a very visual video.
Yeah. Real quick,
But-
with there, can we put in the chat? Because there's so many questions. Can we just send them the email? That'll be like infinitely cleaner and easier.
What? What do you mean by sending the email?
Like put the email and then you pin it so that people can
spamming
email it
questions
as
right
questions.
now.
It's
No,
not
but
spam.
it's just a lot of questions.
Email FNAFBackPodcast@gmail.com to submit your questions. Go. And we'll take a look at chat while you're doing that.
Foxy, I'm sorry.
That
Also,
was actually the intention.
The word Tails is ruined for me because
Oh,
of
yeah, because Pizzaplex, yeah.
The word
See,
fright.
I can't. Again, I got into Sonic first, so when I hear Tails, I think of my boy.
Yeah. That's healthy.
It's probably also brain rot, but it's different brain rot.
Less brain rot.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm looking at the email right now.
The brain rot that will make you insane. Lose your sanity.
Oh, I lost it long ago.
We should probably pick out some more from the doc because I'm sure some people's questions are stuff we've already written down.
Yeah. So let's do a next. Oh, Connie's muted, but I think it's maybe we'll just continue.
Oh, actually, since we were just talking about this, can we go over is the Citrace a parallel to Golden Freddy?
Okay,
let's do that.
Interesting.
Because
yeah,
there.
No, Corey, before you start, Corey, before you start, because I know you have opinions, and I want to let you go off on them.
To say.
Yeah, because I just, Corey, want to remind you that the Two Spirits and Golden Freddy really took off after the Stitch Wraith became a thing, because people were saying, like, is this a parallel to Golden Freddy? Like,
yeah.
Especially with connecting I can't see to what Jake and Andrew were doing in the logbook. It was because I know you were like, was that, like, you were wondering if the Stitch Wraith was a response to that, but
or
like,
Andrew. I was thinking Andrew was specifically.
The Golden Freddy thing kind of came about after the Stitch Wraith.
Okay, when it comes to the Stitch Wraith, I think it was wouldn't this be cool? Especially with how it's them. I think it's them exploring ideas, and one of those ideas was like, well, using agony, they haunt metal. What if two kids are in the same body? Like, how would that affect it? And we go over that in the video as a whole of like, it's inconsistent since the reason one can't see is because Andrew is haunting the battery pack, which means he can power the the robot. And Jake is haunting a mask, which means he has the eyes to see. Um, but it, I mean, it technically could be because people are. I mean, I will say I know where people are coming from when it comes to. There's a lot of stuff going on in the real Jake and with Jake as a whole that seems very crying child. Um, but it might even be very well. I think it could be an exploration of idea. I mean, I'm repeating myself. I think it's kind of up in the air. It could be, it could not be. I think either way, it's not huge. There was something. Was it? Was
I
it
think it
someone
was
we knew?
Cassie.
Was it
I know
Cassie who
I know
said? Yeah, I think it was Cassie who said. It's possible the Stitch Wraith with how Andrew and Jake act is actually a parallel to, the Afton brothers, as in Jake is still crying child, but Andrew is representative of Michael.
Huh.
Hence why he's like that, which
Cool.
I don't hate. It's a possibility. But I'm not gonna state that that's the intention. It's a interesting possibility.
The thing is, it's an interesting
I'm
possibility.
just
I
a
don't
book
see
fan,
what it
so
would.
I just
I
love.
don't.
I
s-
just love.
I don't see what it would lead to narratively. Like, why would that matter? That's my question.
Yeah.
Like, why do you
One of
need
their
that?
points was that it's something I did mess up in the sprites that maybe I'll change is something I realized well after because I was going off of the sprites. I forgot about the mirror image in sister location of Mike. It does look like he has curly hair, and I messed that up when doing the drawing because I was thinking about Josh Hutcherson. So,
Oh, Val.
so I mean,
He's just canon Mike now.
his
So
hair is darker in his hair is darker in FNAF 4. So one of their points was, to be fair, Mike does have dark curly hair, and I was like, huh, I guess you're right. So I don't know. It's just kind of a food for thought kind of thing. Like, I don't know, maybe.
Honestly, I just enjoy the books because I like short stories and I like horror.
The
So
books, yes.
Yeah. I'm
think
also
that the
more
book-
inclined to. Hold on, I'm also honestly right now I'm more inclined to believe that someone saw Ennard and Baby duking it out in a scrapyard one day, and it somehow became Eleanor and the Stitch Wraith duking it out in a house. I wouldn't be surprised.
I don't
That would
think
be
that
funny.
I don't think they would have described Scratch Trap as certainly beautiful, but yeah, that makes sense. That's very pretty. Maybe.
Oh, what did I say?
Speaking of which,
Wait, I meant Scrap
no,
Baby. Did I say Scrap?
Yeah, no, you said
Scrap
baby.
Baby.
You said baby.
Also,
Yeah.
I don't know
So-
Scrap Baby.
Okay, you know what?
we've
got some.
You go ahead.
Okay,
Yeah,
it's complicated now with 4 guests. It's kind of difficult to 4. I say because your cat is also there, but 4 people
gosh.
actively talking. It's
Yep.
more difficult because you have to balance everyone talking. It says online. It's really difficult, but
Yeah.
we've got some questions in the email, and I want to go over some of them at least.
Okay.
And maybe
Yeah,
Nai,
yeah.
maybe look in chat while I'm looking through the email, and you see if you can find any hidden gems over there. So let's do it. Okay, here's one. So from Bolt Indie, he him about Golden Freddy's existence. Do you think Golden Freddy still exists as a physical animatronic? Do you think Golden Freddy still exists as a physical animatronic / Springlock suit post 1985, like MCI? So that's their point of view, or still around by 1987 as Withered Golden Freddy? Because his classic form seems more like a ghostly, intangible Easter egg you have to summon in both UCN and FNAF 1, while his withered form is an actual animatronic that can have his AI tampered with in FNAF 2 and UCN. So, from what I understand, is Golden Freddy from FNAF 1 real or not? Because Withered Golden Freddy appears to be the real one. I'm guessing that's your question.
I think the interesting thing is that Golden Freddy, as we posed, it does exist as a suit somewhere, probably in the bunker. But either there's some teleporting or just casting some kind of hallucination in a sense, casting images. Because I believe it's in the Save Them minigame where Golden Freddy can show up in different places and he flickers in and out.
I think it's just that one
Because
place,
of
but yeah.
everything else going on with visual hallucinations when Golden Freddy does show up, especially in FNAF 1. I think what we see in FNAF 1 is some kind of visual thing, but that's not the actual suit there. The suit could be at the location at that point. I don't know. There has been theories that the reason Golden Freddy is withered in 2 and not in 1 is that Afton was consistently fixing up Golden Freddy, which could be possible, could not be. Probably, I mean, the actual reason is that Scott actually made a different model for for Golden Freddy in FNAF 2.
Yeah.
But if you want to make it a story thing, like, it can be. But I think Golden Freddy does seem to have a thing with visual stuff, messing with your
Yeah.
like your what you see and what you don't, or what I guess not what you don't. Golden Freddy doesn't really hide anything from you.
There's actually, believe it or not, there's actually like a extra animatronic that Golden Freddy is just hiding from us because he doesn't like him. That's where Sparky comes from.
He was hiding the dog. What's his name? Oh my god,
Sparky.
how did I forget the dog's name?
Sparky?
Sparky. Yeah,
Sparky.
he was hiding Sparky from
Oh,
us the
gosh.
whole time.
Uh,
Golden Freddy does not like Sparky.
Sparky keeps trying to jump scare us, and Golden Freddy like cancels him out.
Yeah. Sparky's in the FNAF movie, so maybe there's some lore relevance of that. And Sparky's was built in 1963.
Sparky's
So maybe
so
Freddy's is a
relevant.
rival.
Don't bring up that. He's a hoax. It's
He's
confusing.
canon.
Okay.
Oh no, he's canon.
It's
If
so
he's in the movie, he's in the
I know
games.
he
Parallels.
is, but it's so the reason why he's canon is because he was a famous hoax. So think about that. Food for
Yeah.
thought.
Okay, so another question from Monster Dog. Have you noticed that the Into the Pit Stitch Rave doesn't have a battery? So, before that, little
Wait, what
teaser
doesn't
of
have a
what's to
battery?
come.
Cut out
The
for-
Stitch Rave from Into the Pit when you look
Oh
at it
no,
through
I
the
know
window.
about the Into the Pit Stitch Rave. My
That's
friend
not
showed me
that's
that.
not to come.
Yeah, that's the
Oh,
one they're
the Stitch
referring
Rave.
to.
Oh.
Yeah, because that's an Easter egg.
Does the Sprite not have a battery?
No, before we get into that, I was
Uh.
recently recording a podcast with TD Reads, which some of you might know in chat. So we talked about that there, but I'm gonna restate what we talked about there. Controlling the Stitch Rave, since it doesn't have the battery, but it can still move. And Stitch Rave doesn't stalk kids, and Stitch Rave is stalking
Really?
Oswald in this game, which is pretty crazy. And I
It
want to hear
could
your
also
thoughts on
go,
it.
but the Stitch Wraith, when Jake was doing Stitch Wraith stuff, a lot of it was him trying to collect like stuff that Andrew messed with and like stuff with Freddy stuff, so that it didn't hurt people. So my assumption was, the no battery could be a visual representation that it's just Jake. Maybe this is post Andrew leaving. It could mean that.
No,
And
he did
maybe, I
still
don't know,
have
maybe
the
he's still trying to
battery.
grab
He
stuff.
did. He did still.
He does still
He
have
had
the
the
battery
battery.
after Andrew leaves because he gets shot in it.
Needs
but
the
it could-
battery to
couldn't
move.
keep
Yeah,
it
but
He can
I'm saying
barely
a
just a
move.
visual, like, so like
representation.
visually, it's like Andrew's not here. Yeah, I mean, but you know, it's a sprite. It could be a very
Yeah,
like,
it could
here's
be a
a
mistake.
visual way to show people that it's just Jake.
Or the Stitch
We
Wraith mimic
actually-
theory is real.
We did kind of have a theory about Into the Pit, but did we want to save it, or like when it comes to Andrew's involvement with the game?
Oh yeah, I like that theory. You guys are gonna have to tell us if this conflicts with Night 5.
Wait, what?
Yeah. I mean, we can pitch it here because our possible frights whatever video is our last one set, and it might be changing a lot. It was originally just going to be about Eleanor, but we've had quite a few more thoughts since then. But something we were thinking when playing the game, because so there's the Fetch arcade game where you very much look like Andrew, and then Fetch comes and like kills you. And then there's the other arcade games where when you load it up, a bit of binary shows up and it says like
Yeah.
always watching or something, right?
Yeah, it says always watching.
Yeah.
In the Fetch story, Fetch can communicate in binary, and he does sometimes. As well as, I mean,
Oh.
this, when we saw that, our first thought was, yeah.
Ah.
So
Okay.
our thought was Andrew
Yep.
has a bit more here than we previously thought. Something we were thinking, because it does seem like with the monster spring trap and the kids and all that, is the past that Oswald is going back to is less of actual time travel and more a, you know, like what are people calling it? An agony manifestation, something like
Yeah.
that.
Agony
Monster
recreation.
Recreation, that kind of thing.
Really
So it's not
imagine
like accurate, it's just like the agony that's there, which is probably why the animatronics like Chica and stuff are like attacking you.
And what we were possibly thinking is Oswald lives the memory of a kid who like just has friends in that area, and then he goes to walk to the back room, sees dead kids, and then like quote unquote like could have gotten killed himself. Like we were wondering if with how the pit is, that into the pit is him living Andrew's memory of what happened to him as Andrew as the 6th kid. Where Andrew was just there, he went and saw the other 5 kids dead, and then Springtrap got him, and that's what Oswald is living through right now. Hence
I have
why
more
this
evidence
fetch
for that.
minigame and the always watching would be there.
Yeah.
Because
I have more
Andrew's
evidence for that
memory, at
actually.
least, is in play.
So, when Pit
and
Bonnie, so
the
go
part
ahead, go
also
ahead.
part of our idea was that
Let them, Connie,
Okay,
let
yeah.
them. I want to hear it.
So my additional evidence to add to that, which I really like that actually, is Pit Bonnie, to leave the agony like manifestation pit thing, he needs to take a vessel. He needs to imitate someone. He needs to become someone, and that's Oswald's dad. So what if it's the same vice versa, and Oswald has to like control someone to go into the pit, so he has to become Andrew.
Maybe.
I actually
Yeah.
really dig
Okay,
this.
I
This is
can see
actually
that.
really
I can
cool.
see that
And-
logic.
well,
Guys,
the
I can
other
see that
I remember
logic, yeah.
Corey, our other bit of evidence was in the epilogues. They say that there is blood in the ball pit
Yeah.
from a
Balls.
bunch of different time periods, but it seems
But
to
it's
be
from
from
the
the
same
same
person.
person. And they never told us whose blood that was or what the hell that was. And it makes me wonder if it's like if that is like Andrew, and if maybe he died like he bled into the ball pit and that ended up getting the agony.
It was like Andrew was never assigned like an animatronic. He ended up in Fetch at one point and then the Stitch Wraith, but unlike the other 5 kids, there wasn't Andrew doesn't seem to have any real connection to Golden Freddy, physically. So our thought was like, what if he ran out of room and just tossed Andrew's body into the ball pit, and that's why there's blood in there?
Or
Hence
like
why when
he
Oswald
died
goes
there
into
and
the
then he
pit, hence why
pulled
when
him
Oswald
out
goes
and-
into the pit, he would relive those memories. It's a thought.
obviously the
really
body's
good.
not there anymore because
Yeah,
Oswald
probably.
would've
I
found that.
mean, it would be bones at this point, so I don't know.
I still think you'd find bones if you're like you go into the pit and it's like why does this part feel a lot harder than the normal
He
ball?
was also
Oh my god!
He was also in the book. He was actively closing his eyes.
Yeah, I don't know. I just
It's not like he
especially
was
since like the place did reopen with the pit in it, so I feel like the
Yeah, but
body
walked
would have been
away.
removed at some point. But I
If-
do like the idea of
That's my
blood
other.
being
That's my
Andrew.
other into the pit theory. If I do it, because there is nowhere else where I can say this. I mean, me of Connie have
Go ahead.
considered like making some kind of shorts thing for like quick little theories that just like, hey, we just thought of this. But before the game came out, well before the game was like, maybe it was announced, but like we didn't see anything of it yet, and we read into the pit. When it comes to Jeff, I don't know if I believe his name is Jeff.
Michael, it's Michael.
And then we saw the game, and I was like, why does he look like a tired Josh Hutcherson? I don't believe his name is Jeff. And also, well, again, we haven't gotten to night 5. I haven't seen anything, but the security office is like completely redone in the present. It's like completely different, but it's still a security office. And it's like, why would he have done that? And then he also was like, oh, well, I cleared out all the stuff from like whatever animatronic place. And there's plenty of rooms where like there is still a bunch of Freddy stuff there. So he is lying in some capacity. And it's like, because of again, it was a scrap story, but because of You're the Band, wouldn't be surprised if it was supposed to be Mike. I would not be surprised.
I totally think
It's one of those where I'm on and off, but I wouldn't be surprised.
Every time.
Okay.
Let Night cook.
Every time we're talking about Jeff into the
my
pit, we have a running joke between ourselves now where Corey just says, "Frankly, I don't think your name is Jeff."
Frankly, I don't believe your name is Jeff.
Me and Withered are just
Sorry.
looking at each other because no, I'm no, I'm not even gonna give a hint.
What, Jeff Mike? Jeff Mike,
Oh,
what's
is there a
going on?
spoiler thing that could
Yeah.
lead towards it?
It's just about Jeff. We won't say anything.
No! I just
I feel like
remembered.
me and Wizard are looking at each other in real life.
I
right
only
now.
started
Can't
looking
wait.
now.
Can't wait.
Yeah.
Corey,
We're both-
that reminds me of when I was watching season 1 of Unfortunate Events and I was texting my friend and I was like, You know, at first I was mad that they brought the Baudelaire parents back to life, but I'm starting to think these are the Quagmires, and they just texted back like sweats nervously, and I was like, "What's that mean?" And then I got to the episode where it's revealed they're the Quagmires, and I was like, "Yes!"
Yeah.
I
Here's a
completely
funny
forgot the
story
plot. I
about a
completely
series
forgot
of
that plot.
unfortunate events.
Go ahead.
Is Connie read it before I watched it, and it's because she let slip the basically because
Yeah.
of another person, she let slip like the Beatrice plot twist, and I
Oh,
guessed
okay.
it, and she made up a fake person to dissuade me.
I told her that the Baudelaire's mother's name was Barb.
Oh.
Well, because she was like,
she
"Oh
was
yeah,
like,
their
"Is
dad
Beatrice the
Bertrand," and I was
mom?"
like,
And I
"Oh, if
said,
his name
"No."
is Bertrand," then I was like, "Oh, then if their dad's name is Bertrand, then it would make sense if Beatrice was their mom." And she was like, "Oh no, their mom's name is like Barb," and I was like, "Oh, okay."
I was too young to watch that movie. I was way too young to watch that movie.
Oh no,
I've
not the
watched-
movie, the Netflix series. The movie.
I've watched all.
The
I've
movie
watched all
is
of it.
very inaccurate.
Yeah, I've watched the movie,
The
the
movie's
show,
very
and read all the
inaccurate.
books.
Yeah.
But it's got Jim
Oh
Carrey,
wow,
so
Yeah.
you
it's
guys
points.
all
It's
know
points.
about that.
I used to
Almost
I'm
traumatized me as a little kid.
I'm a Snicket Wiki mod, so
Ugh.
I know
Yeah.
my stuff. But yeah, if you're wondering why Corey's classical literature Tumblr side blog is Barb Baudelaire, that's
'Cause she
why.
lied to
Okay,
me.
okay.
I did that to her. I love lying to you.
Okay, so let's move on from series of unfortunate events, as interesting as it
Mhm.
is.
Mhm.
Let's go back to the subject at hand. We already did some questions. We'll come back to them soon. I don't think there was anything in chat unless Nai looked. Did you look, Nai? Or not really?
There, not really. Just mostly reactions, and yeah.
Okay.
Oh wait,
We'll have a
guys,
look
I need
later
to
anyway.
bring up something real quick.
Go ahead.
Oh.
I need to bring up something. This guy's been bugging me, but not a mean way, but has been
Speaking of
notifying me
speaking
multiple
of
times.
that, Nai, surprise question. From a certain anonymous user. Oh, I mean, okay, fine. Fish Dude. Fish Dude has been asking us the same question for the past 6 months, and I think it's kind of unfair that we just leave him hanging. His question is, if the
Yes.
Springlock suit from Sister Location could be the security puppet because of the same, like, dents in the head and whatever. Just wanted to ask everyone that, see your thoughts. I've already talked to him about it, but I'd like to see what you think.
Wait, can you repeat the question?
Okay, so he wants to know if the end of the FNAF 4, Sister Location Night 4, the Springlock animatronic, under the Springlock animatronic that Mike gets shoved into.
Has the faceplate
he's-
open.
He's proposing that's what is it? Security puppet.
Security puppet.
Could be.
Yeah.
I wouldn't see why it would be a Springlock suit, but it's not
Can you
impossible.
shove some? Is that fat enough for someone to get shoved into? I think
I don't
she's
think
a
it
skinny
is.
bitch.
What we originally said was if it's not the Golden Freddy suit, then it's probably the unknown Springlock Jester. And now that we've gotten a certain teaser, I think we might know what the Springlock Jester looks like.
Oh,
It
yeah.
could very well be that.
Oh, I mean, I'm not
With
sure.
how circus themed Circus Babies is, I wouldn't be surprised if they had whatever that suit was down there for parts. So it could very well be that. My pitch is it's probably that suit, if that's a Springlock suit.
Especially since the mimic seems very connected to Security Breach.
Also, this is another random question about that. When did you think Scott started thinking about the mimic? Because that changes a lot. I don't think it was FNAF 2, even though I like game theory.
FNAF
I
World.
think it's a lot later in the timeline.
Definitely
me,
later.
As a resident mimic fan, let me take this.
I also love mimic.
I love the not like I love the way the mimic works as a narrative thing. I think it might have been from the get-go of this second arc of like, well, we need a second arc. What do we do for the antagonist?
Or knowing he's gonna
like
eventually
program
get a second arc.
Yeah, and AI mimicking Afton is such a good idea from a narrative standpoint of like
just in various
it's a
places.
metaphor. It's a metaphor for repeating the same story arc. It's a metaphor for the cycle of abuse. It's a metaphor for AI sucking.
Yeah.
It's I feel like it might have been planned from there. We know that Security Breach had a lot of stuff that wasn't the original intention, but also is still canon. But I do think the mimic might have been the plan from the get-go, just because of, especially since Glitch Trap mimics what Tape Girl says.
Yeah.
And it says, "Hello, can you hear
Yeah.
me?" And the last
Even
tape
in
very well might
those
be
left
the
in
mimic
security
mimicking her
breach,
voice.
what I point out
Yeah.
in Are You Having Fun Yet? Is mimicking something that the like console guy says to you in FNAF VR. In Help Wanted, one of his lines when you load back in is, "Are you having fun yet? That's great to hear." And that's just the whole line. And it's like she's literally mimicking that line from
Yeah.
that guy.
I love the mimic.
I love him.
I'm
I wanna
fine if he
switch
rips
I can't wait for
off
Secret
my
of the
face and
Mimic.
then
rips
kill
off my
him.
face.
Awful. I want it to explode. I love him
Yeah,
so
the
much.
mimic is a great
that
character, but he's also the worst.
When-
As in, like, terrible.
when they dropped the Secret of the Mimic trailer, I was like, "This is the best day of my life."
Oh, so
By
the
the way,
mimic has
everyone
face
complaining
now.
about the mimic. Everyone
Yeah.
complaining about the mimic, like you guys,
I wanna
like
know the
listen,
backstory.
I'm
Fucking
sorry,
go
like
go
I
our
get
hell.
I
Go
get
our
it,
hell.
but also this
I
is the
don't.
coolest narrative thing they could have done, and I love it so much.
I don't get it. I
Also,
love
Lucia,
him.
final girl. Lucia's the
Yeah.
best final girl.
I love Lucia.
I personally
Yeah.
dislike the epilogues of Tales, but the Mimic's good. Very good stuff in there.
Yeah, the
Really?
epilogues are. I just feel like I feel like they could have added more. I feel like basically it was
Yes,
a
yeah.
thriller movie. I feel like we just watched a
Yeah,
thriller movie.
I liked that though. It gave it
Yeah.
like its own.
We liked that because it
It was
feels like
so
a
much more
stand-up
connected. I mean,
slasher
in
movie.
comparison to, I mean, it's kind of a low bar, but in comparison to the epilogues of Frights,
Frights.
it's like so much more connected, and you could tell they wrote it all at once. Like,
Yeah.
and I like how it's written like a thriller because then it feels like a thriller, and it gives it its own like cool like
Yeah.
flair and personality.
It does kind of tell us the mimic is going to be a
Hence
big
my
villain.
posters. Hey, can I chill for 2 seconds? I made slasher movie
promo.
posters for the Mimic epilogues, and they're on my big cartel.
What?
But yeah, I just as
Hi,
a
I'm a
like
graphic
horror movie
designer.
fan. As a horror movie fan, it's very 70s, 80s slasher, but
Yeah.
in a way that it definitely seems like a send up more than a rip off. And that's why
Yeah.
I personally like it. Like I can see why some people don't, but it just
Yeah,
makes
like
me
if thriller,
very
if like
happy.
slasher thrillers aren't your thing, then like I can see why that's like.
So the first epilogue got me off scary. I mean, it's the Pizzaplex. We know the Pizzaplex ain't scary. And I read the first one. I was like, oh gosh. Oh.
The
Yeah.
Tales
first one
is
is so
Tale-
good. That is such a good
Tales.
I mean,
Tales does
they
not
really
hold
play
back.
with the gore. They go.
Yes,
Yeah.
it does not. Pressure. No,
They
not
learned.
pressure.
They learned their.
Claustrophobia.
They learned their lesson, and they were like, you know what? Screw it. We're going full in with the gore. Like.
Yeah, listen, Fazbear Frights had like 1 or 2 stories that were like probably the
gory.
most gory like FNAF's ever gotten, like Together Forever, just ripping those girls to literal shreds. And then like Tales from the Pizzaplex, they were just consistently like, we're gonna go like just gore. And like it's what I pointed out to Corey is it works better in book form because like when it's still a kids franchise, like kids will read it and they'll be like, oh that's cool or oh that's gross, but like you don't see it, so it still freaks you out, but not in the way that like seeing it on screen would, which makes me wonder how the hell they're gonna do claustrophobia in the graphic novel.
It's not a
Claustrophobia
new
is gonna be
concept
great.
because
I'm
like
so excited for that.
how many kids grew up on Warrior Cats and now Wings of Fire? Wings of Fire starts with killing babies. Like
That's true.
But like because it's just described and not really like
you don't see it.
Detailed.
You don't see it. There's a difference from seeing. I mean that's why people think Watership Down is something like super gory. It's not. It's just the 80s movie was like that because they like decided to frame it in a scary light, and you also are seeing it. Like in the book, a rabbit's like, yeah, my ear's kind of messed up, and you're like, okay. But in the movie, it's like, you know, they make it all gory because like, I mean, that's also the direction they went with it.
Well, I'm just so excited about claustrophobia, even though they totally messed up the cover. But Laura doesn't have legs, first of all. But yeah, that's just.
Oh, have you seen the graphic novel?
The covers.
Yeah,
the graphic novel covers don't even always match the interior, so she
None
might.
of them do.
Oh, you have not seen the interior.
Especially
alligator.
The preview does not look good.
Wait,
the preview does not look good.
Have we seen previews for? Have we seen
Yes,
previews for the new?
And it doesn't look great.
For the Tales graphic novel.
Frights one. We've seen.
Oh,
previews
I'm
for
looking
the
it up
ones
right
that
now.
Leaked, remember?
So,
there was the leaked stuff for the Frights one.
But this
Well, no,
was an
I've seen the Frights
official.
one. I just want
This
to
was
see
an official graphic novel like preview by Scholastic. The artists got really mad because they said like they weren't even done yet and they were like super rushed. So I don't think it's final.
That sucks.
Oh,
Yeah,
that
It really
that's the
sucks.
thing about all of those graphic
That's
novels and books is
Yeah.
I mean, I will complain about the books and certain graphic novels like for the rest of my life, but to be fair to all of them involved, Scholastic really likes to rush people. So
Yeah.
I'm not like there is definitely a level of grace when it comes to both the books and the graphic novels of I'm just assuming when I pick up one of them, I'm assuming the author was rushed.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
I'm seeing the preview images now. I like Maya's design. I'm very happy
Wait.
with it.
Oh, I'm just seeing Haps. Haps
Oh,
looks creep. He's bigger than I imagined. I imagine being a
No,
little pocket sized.
Haps
Well, he
doesn't look
used to like
good.
rip a child's arm off, so
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh yeah. Okay, yeah, I can see that. I do like this illustrator. The kids
Haps
aren't
is also pretty.
how I
People
pictured
forget how
them, but
gory
like
Haps is
obviously
as
different
well.
design. Like
Haps is no cleithrophobia, but it still is also pretty gory.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
But
yeah,
Haps is just
Ballora.
yeah.
Well, she doesn't have
Yeah.
legs, at least. She doesn't
There
have
you
legs
go,
at
Yeah.
least.
I think Ballora was basically I feel like cleithrophobia was basically people kind of like Scott maybe trying to slap the face of people that think Ballora's hot by just saying that she's like a
What if she
total
ripped you to
monster.
shreds?
Y'all, she's a robot.
She's like the worst
What if she
robot
like
you can
ripped you
imagine.
apart?
What if
What
she
if
just
she
kind of
literally
broke
killed
you?
you?
It just broke you. How would that
The
feel?
Yeah.
Cleithrophobia
Yeah,
Ballora
again,
looks completely
I'm
different from
people
normal
shocked they're
Ballora.
doing that for the graphic novels. I thought that
Oh
was
yeah.
a definite no-go. Like
Yeah.
just because of putting that visually is gonna be
Hard.
insane.
And it's not gonna be
Yeah.
pretty.
Yeah,
It's gonna be quite
not.
ugly, in
Mm.
fact. Okay, so
Okay,
we have
should
a
probably
lot
go
of
back to the questions.
Yeah.
questions left. We are not going to be covering all of them, but I want to at least
Yeah.
Yeah,
go
some will
through
be
some.
accidentally covered.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we talked about this at the
There was the
beginning.
thing I did want to talk about.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is?
When it comes to the one you should not have killed. So
Oh,
people have brought up various versions of the possibility that the name of the one you should not have killed and the vengeful spirit are two different people, which I suppose isn't impossible. The person who brought it up most recently, I wish I remember their name. It was from one of our posts. Brought up the possibility that the vengeful spirit is Mike, and the one you should not have killed is Mike referring to crying child as like, hey, you shouldn't have killed him. Which it with some of the lines referring to the one you should not have killed, kind of I guess it's somewhat implies that the one you should not have killed is the one in charge, which would imply that they're the same thing. But again, it's one of those where I am skeptical, but it's not impossible. I mean, it's
Yeah.
it's something where I'm not leaning towards it in any way, but like it's not. Hey, it's not completely disprovable, you know, like most things in FNAF.
Yeah.
But you still hold true with Mike being the like vengeful spirit and the one you should not have killed, right?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Okay, we need to talk
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah,
Maybe
because
can I take hold there with it for a sec? Or maybe you
Because
could if you
we've covered this. We covered a bunch of stuff in both our stream but also we really condensed it down in our second video.
yeah.
Where I think all of my thoughts are pretty stated there of a lot of people are bringing up Crying Child, but the fact is that Crying Child, as we said, does not have the same amount of evidence behind it as in, you know, what we've pointed out with certain lines, and those lines still exist. And these things still exist, and you can bring up Crying Child, which is fine, but Mike explains those certain lines where Crying Child doesn't. As well as like, you know, it's all the security offices are all places Mike specifically has been, and that kind of stuff.
I think the theory is pretty good, but I personally probably will never believe it just because of the logbook, in my opinion. Well,
Fair.
it's just I feel like me and my friend Zeterox heavily think that Michael wants to die. I don't feel like he'd be
Yeah.
vengeful in any reason. Basically,
He
his I feel like he would just
hold
be
on.
fine. I feel like he would
Hi,
literally
hi. I'm a Mike fan. he brought
Oh,
himself back
no.
to life so he could beat up his dad.
Yeah.
No,
Like,
well, I think
he said,
what
I mean,
Corey's
he
saying
literally
is like,
says, like, he says I have one thing left to do now. I'm going to come find you as a threat. Again, he says it as a threat. As in, he knows he's like, I know what my unfinished business is, and it's to come kick your ass. And we know how Mike is in FNAF 4. He seems like a very more, I mean, and as well as think about the movie of, what, who did she say? I think it was Aunt Jane of like, oh, you two are so similar. You and your temper. They very much play up Mike's temper in the movie. He literally starts beating the shit out of a guy because he thinks that he's stealing a child.
Yeah.
And so Mike having a temper is a very Mike thing.
Yeah.
So him being vengeful against his dad and being mad, I don't think is too much of a stretch.
It's not.
As well as the idea we brought up of Mike was like, I'm gonna come get you. And in the end, like, he might have helped him hold up the gun, but it was Henry that shot the bullet. And I could see him being like, nah, we're not done. Like, I wanna put you through so much pain because that's what you put me
Yeah.
through, kind of
well,
thing.
and I think the thing you were point is I think like with Mike Wants to Die, I think like what it was is he's like,
Oh, he does.
yeah, I don't really want to be on Earth, but I didn't want to get scooped in a basement, and that's what
Yeah.
I'm mad about.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, I
didn't
think
want to die
he wants to
then.
be done with his vengeance quest, but to be done with his vengeance quest, he needs to finish the vengeance.
So my main problem
I feel like
with Mike being the one you should not have killed
Vocal
is
Elephant.
apart from all that, like there's a bunch of stuff like the mediocres and their lines, but the main thing is he's described over and over again to be a child, and Michael's not a child when he dies. He's like well in his
Yeah.
20s already. That's my main problem. So do you have like
He's
an
not
explanation for that?
by described, I'm not sure what you mean, because in the games itself, there is a picture of a child, which we did go over of
Yeah.
that's the one, like, it's the thing of when we wrote the video, and even after when I was clearing some clearing some stuff up, I feel like we really covered all of our bases with Mike being the vengeful spirit, except for that picture of a kid. Like, that's the one thing that's the one piece of evidence that makes more sense with Crying Child. But there's a bunch of other stuff that doesn't make sense, where there's some explanations of Mike is showing himself as the kid that his dad fucked up. He's using an image of Crying Child to torment him. It's Scott thought it would look creepy if he took a picture of his kid and messed up West with it. Like, it could be kind of, there's some options we've raised up, but that's the one that, for me at least, I always feel like that's the one part of the theory that we just never, like, I feel like we explained that, you know?
Yeah.
Because everything else I think I can explain, you know? It's like, yeah, because of this, because of that. But it's that picture that it's like, that's the one loose end. And it's like, you know, one loose end in a sewed piece of fabric is pretty good, you know, like, if it's just one loose piece of thread in the whole thing, then it's not the worst thing in the world, but you know,
like,
it's still there.
I feel like also his accent, which I think you guys did bring up.
People have brought that up, yeah.
Yeah, okay, but
That's fair.
I feel like the accent is just because even if he did have an accent, I don't think it would just be like, oh, it's Michael, because they have like two other people. It could be Crying Child.
Yeah, there's multiple
There's
people who are
yeah,
British, but I
Elizabeth
think,
could be a lot of
well,
them
because
also.
two things that I thought of. A, I think Scott wanted it to be a mystery, as usual, where from what we saw of the, like, casting or direction for the person who did the whisper voice for the vengeful spirit, is Scott said it wanted it to be a gender neutral child. So when people were like, but that voice is a girl, it's not. They were directed to
Yeah.
sound gender neutral. To mean gender neutral in this context, unlike, say, like an Undertale context, it's in the context of he doesn't want it to be noticeable right away. And I think if the voice was British, people would have been like, well, that really narrows down who it is, you know? Because, like, they're in Utah, there's, like, we know of, like, one British family. It would narrow it down enough that it wouldn't be enough of a mystery for Scott, I think. The other thing,
And
it's
they
probably
made
because
it
it's a
too much
programmed
of a
voice.
mystery by accident.
Yeah. The other thing
Yeah.
is, and this has nothing to do with it, and is definitely a programmed voice thing, but Circus Baby, once she's, like, fully Elizabeth, still not British, even though we've heard her
That's
child
true,
voice.
yeah.
She's very, like, is this the right one? Like, Veruca Salt, the, like, Daddy! Yeah, she's very that. So even when she's fully possessed, still not British. So the rules can be bent is maybe how that connects to it. I think
Yeah.
it was again because he directed them to be gender neutral. He probably also was like in an American context, a just more American accent is the most like neutral we can be here, so that it's not obvious.
Or he just
I think it's
forgot.
less of a story thing and more of a this is going to the audience thing.
Or he just forgot that Mike was British.
Again, like
No.
everything except the picture we can explain. Like,
Yeah, I guess. But
like
the
even oh
picture
my
is my
god,
main
there's been a
problem.
recent resurgence of
Yeah.
yeah,
same.
Yeah.
and it's my main problem
And
too.
that's
It's like
fair. That's completely fair.
there
Yeah.
is every like I feel like every loose end is tied up except for that one. But I don't know. I
Yeah,
don't know what Scott was
that's
thinking.
fair.
Maybe
That's
he was
completely
thinking, I have
fair.
this picture of my son. Let's just make it look creepy and throw it in. I don't know. Like
Yeah, we
Yeah.
don't know.
the other thing that people have recently brought up, which I think is just like I mean, maybe y'all won't think it is, but I think it's stupid. But
Don't be
Mike didn't
rude.
die.
God.
No, it's
Okay.
them saying Mike. Okay, that's why I said I think this is stupid, bro.
Yeah.
I don't care about the lines. I should be dead, but I'm not. You won't die. Like it's all like technically ghosts aren't dead. Technically ghosts are dead, but also they're technically not dead. It's the same with zombies. They're called undead because it's kind of their own category.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
you know, it's like how you wouldn't describe a resurrected Jesus as dead. Not to compare
Okay,
Michael
yeah.
Afton to Jesus, but
Yeah.
it's like you wouldn't describe it in the same way. But you
But
also kind of could. For
the
ghosts and zombies, you
reason
could.
this
But also,
infuriates Corey
the
so
reason
much
I
is
think this is dumb. They're literally skeletonized in front of our eyes. He rotted and lost hair, and like we saw his bone and his eyes fall out. We can see his eye sockets. He died.
Corey so muffled.
he
Ugh.
literally decomposed. Yeah, I don't know how that sounded on my end.
That
We
was
watched
kind of
him
an important
decompose.
part.
It was kind of an important
Well,
part that we watched
the
him decompose
the
until
audio
he had to take his
completely
shirt
cut
and
out.
shoes off about it. Okay, yeah, I'm sorry.
Okay.
I was
Wait,
trying to
really?
do a dramatic thing. So
Okay.
bro skeletonized. We see like his eye sockets and like he loses hair and turns purple and etc. The point was that he decomposed. He died.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like
Definitely
he
died.
it's not like Ennard crawled into him, but like it was a still living body. That was a skin
No,
suit.
they killed him.
But
Which also
there
makes
is
me because the reason I am a little skeptical when people just use Remnant as a catch-all healer of like,
Mhm.
well, Remnant can just heal anything, so like that explains how the Man Room 1280 grew his arm back or something like
Yeah,
that.
like Remnant can
Because
heal.
like
We have
see
no
it heal.
evidence for Remnant growing back limbs.
That's true.
We can
We
the
see
most,
it heal.
The most
We
we've seen.
see
Yeah.
it. Corey, let me finish. We
It
see
can't
Yeah,
bring
it
someone back from the
heal
dead.
in frailty, but it's
Yeah.
healing people who are already alive and a kid who was dead for like maybe 3 minutes.
So like
Yeah.
think the difference, but there's a difference between a week-old corpse as well as however many years old corpse that Scrap Trap is with an arm missing, and the mostly dead princess
Princess Bride.
mostly dead princess bride rules. Like he's half dead. Like that kid just died. That's the most we've ever
Yeah.
seen Remnant do for a person
But
when it comes to healing.
the thing is, the reason I bring that up now is because we know for a fact that Molten Freddy has like hashtag the most Remnant ever, like from Henry's
There's like
blueprint.
5, probably more kids in there. I don't know.
And if Molten Freddy is Ennard, like then they had all that Remnant in Mike and he's still decomposed. Like
They had all that Remnant in Mike, they still decomposed. And as people are saying, well, could Mike have healed himself with Remnant after that? Maybe, but Ennard kind of took all the Remnant with him. Mike doesn't seem to have. I don't know. Maybe at some point Mike figured that out and was able to not smell as stinky, but that's not. There's no real evidence for that or that working.
Yeah. I do think he probably healed himself, and there's a reason why I believe it. This is like one of the side tangents, but like he wasn't really possessing himself. I think, at least in my opinion, until after Ennard left, and that's when I think it kicked in. Because
Ennard had to leave for Mike to like take control.
Yeah, and then also I feel like that's when Remnant took over, which Mike can talk, which he needs, of course, most all of his lungs and stuff, and his tongue, which he probably got removed when he got scooped, and he could drink and eat. Like he could do almost anything.
We don't
I
know
feel like
about drinking and eating, but we do know that he chews gum, which is
yeah, and
different
I
because
think he
you don't
steals
actually have
that.
to like consume that, but we do know he does chew gum.
Yeah,
We
does that
don't.
a
Yeah,
lot.
we I can't say anything about drinking and eating. It's possible he's able to heal what he could. Like I don't know if like some of his organs fell out. That there's not much you can do about that. But like maybe what could be kept together and held together by that, could have been. I just think like people have also used. I think we talked about this in the video, but I can't remember at this point. The idea that Mike or some kind of Mike remnant or whatever was something to do with the remnant in Ennard that let Mike do that when there was probably maybe there was some metal left in the system that Ennard left, but again, Ennard took all the remnant with it. So remnants, when it comes to that instance, remnant's not really in play.
We could
As well
probably go
as
to our
we
next
do need to
question.
remember that agony is a type of remnant. Agony is technically remnant. Dark remnant.
Yeah, Dark Remnant.
Dark
Thank you,
remnant.
FNAF AR. Thank you for not just calling it Agony, which we already have a name
Yeah.
for.
Like,
Which would have
God,
been
God,
easier.
she's so pretentious.
Yeah.
She's so pretentious. Just call it agony.
Just call it agony.
It's so easy. So
True,
much more
true remnant, dark remnant.
easy.
Or no, sorry, hero remnant.
Yeah.
Choose
Hero
your
remnant,
story.
evil remnant.
Okay.
Evil, malcontented remnant.
When okay, listen, Sonic Movie 3 trailer, when will Shadow eat a cow?
Yeah,
What?
hey, yeah, hell yeah, that's why the trailer sucked. Where's Shadow eating a whole cow like a piranha?
Wait,
So in
Yeah, we can,
advertising,
no,
Sonic
we can
Adventure
explain it
2.
later. If you know, you know.
I don't, so okay.
We'll send it in the chat.
It
Okay,
has to
so
do with the
yeah.
original advertising for Sonic Adventure 2.
Okay, whether we should pick our best favorites is it's over an hour. Okay, real quick,
Mm.
please, get this
Yes.
off my shoulders. This
Yeah.
guy's been asking me to tell you guys his theory. It's really dumb. It's one.
There's
But
another one.
I kind of made it off.
Oh,
Don't be rude.
It's one of those. It's one of those. You know how FNAF said he could theorize about anything. This is
yeah.
one of those.
Yeah.
You could really theorize about anything. You know how the mimic. Okay, sorry guys. This is gonna feel really weird. You know how the mimic has one green eye and blue eye?
Yeah.
In the books, it
In
specifically
the
as Tiger
digital.
Rug in the books.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Yes.
Tiger Rock. You know who else has that?
Pig Patch.
Pig Patch.
Yeah.
And Pig Patch is
Yeah.
also very special. It's weird, but he's special, and it's
Yeah, there
weird.
is
And
something weird about that.
I don't want to.
It's.
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
He's special.
It might just be, for all we know, it's a weird coincidence, especially. But with Pig Patch and Help Wanted 2, like Pig Patch specifically,
Yeah.
maybe they're saying the mimic endoskeleton was in Pig Patch and then it escaped the fire. I don't know. Like it could very well just be
That's interesting.
that little of what that means.
Yeah.
Or it means literally nothing.
Yeah, it means literally nothing, or it can mean everything. Yeah.
I think people have used the dual colored eyes to theorize a bit much.
Yes.
Because I know
a
Matt
little
Pat
bit
went a
too
little
much.
off board with
Charlie and
it.
Elizabeth fighting.
I was nervous when we posted our video, and I was like, when I say the one eye is Charlie, is Matt Pat gonna get pissed? Like, oh, when I say it. Which,
Well,
I guess it's the one thing we
say
never
that, but
really
we, like,
addressed. Is a lot of people.
You say that, but we legit never thought that Matt Pat would ever see that video. And
Well,
then
it's when
he
we
did, and we
started
were like, what the
watching it,
hell?
and I was like,
You
oh
were so
no, is he
wrong.
gonna see that and get mad? He didn't.
He didn't.
Well, because I mean, and also people have brought up that the other light in the Golden Freddy eye might just be a lighting thing, which I don't think
I think
we probably should have said to cover it. And we know it's right now. It's either like, oh, this was supposed to represent Charlie, or oh, it was a lighting thing. It's either or for me. Like, I think that's what's going on with it.
Yeah.
And I wish I was in the video, but oh well. It's months old now.
Yeah.
Can't change it.
We should probably go on to our actual questions besides all the jokes and random tangents, which are not
Mhm.
necessarily bad.
Which are important. They're very good, actually. This is a podcast, remember?
Yes, this is a podcast. Kind of keep
Anyone
forgetting about
falling
that.
asleep to this right now? I'm in your dreams.
Yo.
Put me in
Okay.
your dreams now.
Okay, we did it. The funny thing is, we didn't answer the biggest question. Should we leave that for last, or
Yeah.
do we do
Sure, go
that
ahead.
right now?
Let's get
Okay.
to it now.
Is CC
Sure.
Cassidy? This is like the intro. You know, all of the GT Live intros. Is CC Cassidy?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay,
Okay.
so we still think so.
Yes.
I definitely so speaking because the Hyperdroid thing just came out, which by the way,
Yeah.
Hyperdroid, if you're watching this,
You're cool.
You are
We
so
have we
cool, and
never
we are
hold
really
anything
bad at
against you.
checking our email. We are really bad
Yeah.
at checking our email. If you
Hyperdroid, you're chill. We will never hate
He
you.
sent us a message a while ago, and he probably replied, but we are really bad at email checking. So,
especially because I'm like
you're
in
super
school right now, and I'm checking school
Yeah.
emails and like going to class.
But
Yeah.
the thing with David is the name Dave, we definitely see where that's
Dave.
coming from, and it's
Yeah.
totally
Yeah,
chill.
can
People
I
believe that.
explain my
Yeah,
thing
you
about the
go ahead.
Foxy Grid? Because I've gotten out about these thoughts, and now I know like what I want to say.
Mhm.
My thought when it comes to the Foxy Grid is it's accidentally kind of a personification of FNAF as a whole, where it's too vague. I think
Yeah.
there's so many ways you can solve the Foxy Grid by putting the actual sprite in there, by not using it at all, by putting different sprites in there, by doing different types of alphabet, by putting alphabets in different spots. I think it is way too vague. So there's a way someone could get Evan, and the similar way they got Dave, the way someone else got Mike, and the way the one that actually feels a bit far fetched is where someone got like Springtrap, which the only thing that isn't far fetched about the Foxy Grid saying Springtrap is that it would be a reference to "My name is Springtrap" in the text for the original FNAF 3, because the thing is my name, my name, my name. So if it's spelled out is Springtrap, it would be a fun reference to that. But that's the way they found it felt kind of off to me. But the way like that people found Evan and Dave and Mike kind of all hit the same to me.
Yeah.
All of these seem just as likely because the reason the grid is so hard is because it's too vague. There's too many ways to solve it and no clear answer. So could this be saying that there is someone else named Cassidy and whoever, and there've been people who have brought this up because Hyperdroid isn't the first person to find Dave. There have been other people who have found Dave, or at least one other person, and someone brought that up to us. Actually, it might have been during the live stream, saying that could this mean it's in reference to Dave Miller, aka Purple Guy's fake name in the novels, which shoot, it could mean that. One of our possibilities was that it is William communicating with the crying child. And it could, I mean, shoot, maybe Scott put that in and that's what it meant. And that's what Dave is. And the answer is Dave. Or the answer isn't Dave and the answer is impossible to find because the answer could be anything. The answer could also be Mike, which would also make sense. I've posed that the text isn't faded because it's like ghostly, but just faded because it's old. And Mike has had this book twice now. And the first time was when he was using faded text to try to help his brother. And the second time is with the red pen. That's also a possibility. I think there's multiple possibilities, and I think I can't say, "Oh, well, he solved it." I was excited for a minute, but like I've seen the solution before, and there's so many other solutions that are just as possible because it's too vague. And as I was saying, I think that really explains FNAF as a whole is, like say with FNAF 4, where Scott was trying to tell people, hey, Mike is the security guard, and this is this, and this is that, and he at that time thought that people would figure out what's in the box just from FNAF 4. And people still have yet to. And I mean, maybe people have, but he's just kind of left it to the wayside. He's like, it was this plot line that I was gonna tackle, but it's just kind of moved away from that, which if it was a crying child body thing, then yes, the story has moved away from that. So we could still be right about it. I don't know.
Don't get me wrong.
But I think like think about FNAF 4, how there is nowhere near enough evidence to be like, oh, the security guard has been his older brother, because we never get his name or anything. We don't even know he's Mike. His older brother's Mike in this point. His sprite is just named like Foxy Bully or something, or Bro or whatever. So we have nothing to go off of, but he thought we could solve it because he's like in it. When he's in the lore, he thinks that it's obvious. And I think, and the Foxy Grid is the exact same way, where I think because it's hard and I think this is why it's good that Scott is working with a team now and actually telling them what the lore is, because he didn't at first, is that now he has outsider perspective to be like, this is obvious and this isn't. Because when you're in your own story, when you're building up to something, for say like writing something or making a movie, and because when you're in it, you have a completely different perspective. And I think that perspective is what's kind of messed with thought in some instances. And it's messed with, at least the original games, and I think it's the same way it messes with the Foxy grid of if Scott knows the solution, then he's like, well, this is the clues that make sense, but we don't, you know?
That's why I said, because like I said in our live stream, like obviously Dawko had already recorded his questions for
Mhm.
Scott by then, but I remember saying if I had like one question to ask Scott, I know he
That's,
wouldn't
like,
directly
serious.
answer any lore questions.
Mhm.
It would be, is the Foxy grid meant to be solvable?
Mhm.
Because if it's like if it was literally just a red herring for the crossword, then I would like to know that so we can move on. But if it is meant to be solvable, then yeah, we can go like keep going back and solving
Yeah,
it. Like that
and
would
with how many numbers are given throughout the book, if you use the same ones that are in the crossword, if you use the tally marks, there's a lot you can use to find different types of letters. As I said before, the Foxy grid is too vague to be solvable. It's like,
Yeah.
if someone
But
handed you like it's like it's it's like if someone handed you like a bunch of white squares and we're like, okay, this is a puzzle and you need to put all of them in the right order. Or you need to put all of them together. So you put all of the white squares next to each other in like this, perfect little thing. And they were like, no, that's wrong. Those two are out of order. And you're like, these both are the same square to me. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
That's the Foxy grid.
Yeah.
But yeah, with Hyperdroid, it's definitely a very solid video, very solid analysis.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
if Crying Child's name isn't Cassidy, I can see it being Dave. I can see a fucked up version of William, like naming himself after
Yeah.
his dead kid. Like,
Yeah, that's
I
not
can
too obvious, but also he's dramatic. As we discussed earlier, he's dramatic.
And like, if his name is Dave, if his name is David,
Or if you
maybe
believe it
maybe
is.
that maybe that connects to something, to some other kid
Hey,
named David who
if
had
it makes you
a
believe that there's a
plushie
connection
and
between him and something else that we are getting to in an eventual
plushie
video,
and a
that
robotic
no one
robotic father.
Yeah,
and,
a kid with a plushie that cries all the time and a father who can't take care of him, so he builds him a robot. If it connects to any story like that people think is about another
not to
kid,
spoil
then I
our
don't know
video
if it
from
helps you
like
believe that,
5
then I'm
videos from
fine with
now.
that.
Like
Yeah, we're
5
spoiling
videos
like
from now.
videos down the line that the Amy video is taking longer than I thought it would, just because of
Yeah.
where it's not the summer anymore. Connie was working
Yeah.
over the summer too, but like that'll change things. As well as again, this one has much more visual stuff and back roll.
Okay.
And again, I'm going to say this again in case anyone says this from this, because we had to do this during the podcast because we keep getting emails about it. I am honored to keep getting emails asking us if we want to take on anyone like in our team. We are not gonna. We don't have
It's
the
dual
ability to
process
like
theory.
pay you in a certain way. And if they're well, we technically are a trio because our older sister is helping us with audio now, so
Yeah,
she
yeah.
is in it.
Yeah.
Our secret third sister, and
Or
but we are not doing any of that. So I'm honored to get all of like your portfolios, but it's not going to be a thing.
yeah.
But
Makes sense.
not to spoil like 5 videos from now, but we do think there is maybe potentially a connection between Crying Child and David in the books, which if you
Mhm.
believe his name is Dave,
Which
that adds more to it.
much like our other
Yeah.
theory, a good amount of it is going to be us trying to deconstruct people connecting the mimic to Charlie, which isn't
Is fair.
which is
As someone
those
who's
ones are also
read the
fair.
book.
It's ones where if I saw, because of everything we went over and how fanon I have seen that, fanon Cassidy is, if she actually showed up in game, I would be genuinely surprised. I wouldn't be like super disappointed or anything. Like, I would just be genuinely surprised. Like, wow, I thought the fandom just completely created her. But it's when it comes to like, is the mimic connected to Charlie or Crying Child? Most people are gearing towards Charlie because that's where people first went, I think.
Yeah.
It's one of those where a lot of higher ups in the FNAF fandom will kind of go with the same theory, and then it just kind of closes off discussion.
That's the
On purpose, mind you. Like, I'm
Yeah.
not saying like Rye Toast is control. Like, no, it's not on purpose.
Rye Toast is the coolest person ever.
Rye Toast is really cool.
hell yeah.
But
Hell yeah.
it sometimes discussion can get closed off when people are like, okay,
this is solid, and it's like it's not really. And
Yeah.
one of those is, but the thing is about if the mimic is connected to Charlie, especially now with the new like thing of like it looking kind of like a Jester pop in the box kind of thing. If it turns out we're completely wrong and it was totally a Charlie thing, that one is where I wouldn't even be a little disappointed, not surprised at all. Like I would just not be
Yeah.
surprised. Like
Like,
it could be either
I
or.
mean, the fourth closet is literally like Henry builds a robot to like imitate Charlie and then beats the crap out of it and it turns evil.
But
Like,
also it's
I
it's like
get it.
supposed to. But also that was actually supposed. Well, here's the thing: is a lot of people bring that up. However, the thing is about the Charlie bots. Is a lot of people like to bring up humanoid robots. So I'm not going to go too in depth in it here. But in a game, we already have a robot that was built by Henry to contain the doll-like thing that contains his daughter's spirit, and that is Lefty. I think that's the closest we're gonna get. I think Lefty is the thing in the fourth closet, and we need to leave it alone.
This still reminds me of, I made a Tumblr post a while ago where I said alternate universe version of Pizzeria Sim, where instead of building Lefty, Henry's like, oh, I have some Charlie bots I never used. And so Mike's being attacked by 3 angry animatronics and a very angry teenage girl.
And a very angry teenage girl.
Evil FNAF 6.
But yeah,
Someone should mod that.
one of the mimic crying child connections is we did notice like
we don't want to go full into it
that
because we do plan on making a video.
Yes, but we're not going to spoil all of it. But like specifically, one thing we noticed is Edwin was bought out by FazBear, and he already had a robotics company, which we noticed after that seemed to happen to Afton.
And well, something specific in the story was Edwin was like he always wanted to do something more with robotics, but he was stuck working for this child pizzeria, which with the bunker sounds more like a William sentiment than a Henry one. Henry seems to be like, yeah, let's make a kids pizzeria, and William is like experimenting with immortality. Like this is beneath me. He's trying to make Cybermen real. Like, here's my theory. You know how people sometimes theorize like William tragic backstory. He doesn't have a tragic backstory.
No, he does not.
He was British. He watched a Cybermen episode once, and it ruined him for life. That's what happened to him.
It's like it's the Doctor Who demonic content. Yeah, he watched one Doctor Who episode.
Yeah.
And he's like, oh no, that's it. I have to become Satan now.
He sees the Cybermen, and he's like, he was right though. The guy who made the Cybermen was right though.
It's like one of those like when the villain is right YouTube video essays. And William is literally the personification of that.
William Afton video essay, the guy who made the Cybermen was right.
When
one of those like a Magnifico was right videos. It's like, are you perhaps a CEO?
Or Corey, when will William Afton make his ukulele apology video?
Yeah, oh my god. I don't have the ability, but I had a grand idea of taking Pizza Sim gameplay, but like putting a scrap trap model in the vent, and he's playing the ukulele apology, and like, but it's gameplay, so like Mike keeps turning to the other vent and like turning back to the TV. On the TV is Vanny doing the interpretive apology dance. What was it called?
Apology. The Sienna Mae Gomez
interpretive
dance apology.
Either Vanny or Scrap Baby doing the Sienna Mae Gomez interpretive dance apology to the ukulele. At one point, it would be like Mike turns to the computer and he gets a text from HRY that says, "How did he get that?" But I just don't have the technical ability to do that, or the modeling skills, or the ability to draw Springtrap at all. So if anyone wants to take that and run with it, I would be so happy.
Yeah.
Now I'm just stuck imagining like little William Afton with a propeller hat watching Doctor Who.
Oh,
that's just my mental image.
With him.
Wait, when was Doctor Who even launched? Like, when was Doctor Who's first episode?
1968.
Oh yeah,
or
he could have
was
watched
it
any old
64?
episode.
That would work.
What was the original
Cybermen? It aired the day Kennedy. It aired the day Kennedy was assassinated.
Really? Wait, November 23rd. It says 63.
63
episode.
so lost in
Yeah,
this
because I
conversation.
Everybody
remember
debuted in the
succinctly the
10th.
first episode aired the
Season
day JFK
4.
was assassinated, and it got low ratings, and the studio was literally like, you know what? That's that
wait.
wasn't fair on you guys. We'll give you a second run, and then
Wait,
they
hold
got
on.
a billion views the second run.
Hold
So
on, wait.
Okay.
Doctor Who season 4 release.
Let's get back to the because
No,
we're
not-
really
Hold on.
FNAF, shifting into FNAF mode.
all right.
Yeah.
Bye bye, Doctor Who.
FNAF
We've
1.
only got like a couple.
1960. The first I Remember episode is 1966.
Yeah, I'm
I
evolved
could've watched it
again.
as a child.
We
That would
I
work.
can
Okay.
actually
Okay.
talk now about.
Okay. So we've got 2 quick questions. I'm gonna remove this one, and then I'm gonna do like a
Yeah.
little last one.
Okay.
You know about the fetch minigame from Into the Pit. So why do you think Golden
Yes.
Freddy's in
Yes.
the fetch
I do.
minigame, and why the hell is he possessed? That's my question.
Something I was
Great
thinking
fucking
of,
question.
though, is
I have no idea.
if this is, here's an idea. If this is, because now that you're saying this is like we're rewriting tales to fit the games type of situation. In the game, you collect 6 balloons, and then you go to the back room and get killed by Fetch. And it does look like that Golden Freddy is like possessed, because when you move away from him, he like looks at you.
Yeah.
Could this imply that we are right, and like this is Oswald like being Andrew? There are dead 6 kids, and Andrew's the original 6 of the games being Susie, Fritz, Gabriel, Jeremy, and then Cassidy. And
then Charlie.
then Charlie, and they're cementing Andrew as a different kid, which is why there's already 6 balloons there. You're not the 6th balloon. You're collecting 6 balloons, and then the door opens, and why Golden Freddy is already possessed, because maybe they're trying to say Andrew is here, but he's not one of the dead kids, and he's not like the one you should not have killed in this universe. That's my first thought, but I could be wrong.
Yeah,
No,
I do
that
find
makes
it
a lot of
interesting that like they have you collect 6 balloons like
Mhm.
in that minigame, in the Balloon Boy minigame, but like you are not the 6th balloon.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not like they're
Collect
saying
6.
Andrew is the 6th. And this could make more sense if they're like, oh, well, this makes more sense if Andrew did see 6 dead kids. I don't know, maybe he saw the DCI. So I don't know.
But I still like the idea of game versus Andrew DCI, but
that was an idea of there's no real good well, there's the idea of the DCI in FNAF 2 doesn't seem to have happened at all in the books universe.
Yeah.
To the point where because the original killings are different, where originally they were hid in the suits and they never found them. In Into the Pit and in the last
Fear the Man.
story, the one that was cut, the kids are all in chairs with party hats on. They're all like set dramatically.
Yeah.
And there's 6 of them already there.
Yeah.
So my thought is, the idea was like the book murders. There was no DCI, and that murder is a mix of like what happened with the original kids and the DCI. The idea that the DCI with their bodies strewn out all around the place, and the reason suddenly everyone's like, oh yeah, there's something's going on out there, but it's not related to us. Say there are kids getting kidnapped, and then people freaking out of everyone is on lockdown, of someone like the day guard came in and found a bunch of the kids propped up in chairs with party hats on, dead,
Mhm.
which would explain some of the DCI. So because of that, the general idea of Andrew is is dead in the game first, but he is a DCI kid is there. But I mean, there's no real evidence for that point. It's just an interesting idea.
Yeah.
There was also
Yeah,
the idea I
but,
had of all of Charlie's friends from the novels being the DCI kids. Because
That's
Yeah.
crazy.
they can actually kind of fit into the animatronics, and there is 6 of them. Or like fit with personality wise to each animatronic, or like one had each favorites or whatever, and there is 6 of them, which there's no
There's
evidence
5.
for that other than the number. Yeah, but
so
There's
so
no evidence. It would, but it would be
which
that would-
ones?
well,
Wh-
literally one where like one of the bloodstains is behind Toy Bonnie specifically, like they tried to hide there, and you said it was Jessica? Jessica was like,
Yeah.
Bonnie makes me feel safe.
Oh
So there's
yeah.
stuff like that where it's like, that's interesting, where I honestly I think that
and
would be
Corey,
interesting.
it was
but
also
that's the only
Corey,
evidence, really.
Corey, it was also that one of them was under a table, and Carlton always talked about hiding
Yes.
under the tables to try and
Yeah.
stay at Freddy's
Overnight.
overnight.
Yeah,
And
so I would
another one blood puddle
Oh
was
my wow.
in the
Holy
corner
I
where
forgot there was
Balloon
actually
Boy's
evidence for
stuff
this.
would one blood puddle was in the corner where Balloon Boy's stuff would be. It's not there in the Save Them, but it's where it would be in the mini game.
Mhm.
And
On the
that's where the
carousel.
carousel would be, and the kids all loved Charlie's friends all loved the carousel.
Mhm.
So we just
Well,
thought
there's I
that
think
would be
we also
messed
there
up,
was
and then,
one
like,
we it
the
was that
fact
was
that
kind
DCI
of a
didn't happen
stretch.
in the books is the reason they're alive.
There was one that was kind of a stretch where one of the bloodstains looks like the kid was trying to book it to the security office, which I think you said John did at one point in the books.
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I think he did,
But
though.
it's something where that's the evidence we have. It's not like confirmed or anything, but I think it would be an interesting idea, especially honestly just with parallels of Save Them You Can't being like the puppet is leading you to the bodies of like her other universe's dead friends, which is it's just that idea that's like, yo, you know?
It would be so cool.
Like,
Yeah.
the
But it's
idea is
probably
that
not true.
because FNAF 2 never
Yeah.
opened in the
Mhm.
books,
Yeah.
they're fine.
Yeah.
Hi.
Yeah.
Hello
But yeah,
there,
that's just a
kitty.
crack theory. We don't.
Kitty? I have a cat.
The third member of dual process theory besides
Yeah, our sister's the fourth. Our other sister's the
fourth.
four's
Quadruple
kinky
process
behind the
theory.
cat.
Quad.
Good
There
girl.
she There's
Okay.
my baby. Lots to say.
Oh.
So,
But yeah, I didn't think we would bring that up, but like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
sorry. Last question.
I think it's interesting. We've got technically one like last one, but it's okay. I like that
Mhm.
interpretation. It's cool. I don't think it changes anything, but I think it's really fun.
Yeah,
Fun.
it's a fun idea.
It's
at
morbid,
least.
but still
Mhm.
interesting. So, one little like last fun flavor question. Favorite iteration of Golden Freddy, and this counts literally like everything. It can be Fredbear, it can be Withered Golden Freddy,
Ooh.
Into the Pit Golden Freddy, anything.
Wait. Let me Google Golden Freddy's real quick because I kind of
Mm.
forgot what the different ones.
Yendo as well. Yendo technically counts.
Oh,
Okay, I have-
That is so cool.
Did we count Yendo?
I haven't
Because like
people,
Yendo just
people
looks like
think
everyone's
it's
Yendo
the
skeleton.
innards.
You can count Yendo if you
Yeah, well,
want.
Yeah.
people thinking he could be a Golden Freddy, or my thought was like, oh, well, he has it in the bunker. Maybe he was like, let's try making a new endoskeleton for the thing. Maybe that'll bring my child back, and it just didn't work, and that's what Endo is.
Yeah.
But
Well, when we looked at the sister location endoskeletons and Help Wanted 2, they all kind of looked like Yendo.
yeah,
Yeah.
but what I'm gonna say what my favorite iteration is, and you may or may not have seen this. There is a video of people taking pictures with a Golden Freddy cosplayer, and there's a kid that walks up in a striped shirt, and the guy in the suit does a double take and then goes to eat his head. Have you seen this video?
Oh, the
Yeah, yeah,
Mexican,
yeah.
the Mexican one.
Yes. That's my favorite iteration
Oh.
of Golden Freddy, that video. Because it's so funny.
Fair.
Me and Withered. Maybe it was a different photo, but yeah.
See, I'm trying to think of the different versions.
You know what? Actually, I'm lying. The Funko plush also. It's very cute.
Not the Funko, the
Sorry,
Sanshi, I think you're thinking.
Oh yeah, the
Sanshi, that's
Sanshi.
right, sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Personally, I
The
think
Sanshi plush is very cute.
I think
I
Withered
don't know why
Golden
it's giving
Freddy
a
is my favorite.
bombastic side eye, but I think it's cute.
Yeah, Sanshi
All the
has
other
those like
Sanshi
weird
plushies are
eyes.
all the other Sanshi plushies are looking forward, and for some reason, the Golden Freddy one is giving you a side eye. I don't know why, but I
Yeah.
think it's funny.
Yeah, that's true.
Okay, I
Okay,
actually know
so,
what mine is.
Mine, so like I'm trying to think because I do love the like animatronic they used in the movie. I
Yeah.
love the.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
real, so
the
I
kid
have
who,
to, you know.
the kid who played Cassidy, like just using Cassidy as like the because I think he referred to his character as Cassidy once, but that might not be canon, whatever. But
Mhm.
the like just that kid did an amazing job of like
Oh, yeah.
playing Ultimate Custom Night in his head the entire time.
We want
The
Mhm.
happy.
I do like the nightmares; those are all very fun.
Yeah.
And like it's the
Okay, question: does Nightmare
the
count
funny
as a
answer-
Yeah,
I don't know.
I'd say so.
Sure.
It's
sure.
a recolor,
But-
sure.
It's a recolor.
I'm gonna say
Yeah.
my funny answer is a version of Golden Freddy where every possible Golden Freddy kid is in that thing at once, where it's like Fanning Cassidy, there's Crying Child in there, there's
Cassidy,
Michael
Andrew,
Brooks, Devin
Michael
and
Brooks.
Kelsey, Andrew's here. Like, I want like a whole party in there, and like they're controlling Golden Freddy, like the kids from Phineas and Ferb were controlling Perry, and the Platypus controlling the episode where one of them has right arm, and Michael Brooks is like, oh, I got back and forth.
It's like a mech suit. It's like a mech suit, and they are not drift compatible. It's like the Stitch Knife, but so much worse.
Golden
That does remind me. The other thing I wanted to say with Crying Child's name is if it's not like anything important, if it's not like Cassidy or Dave or I don't know, Andrew or something.
It literally turns out to be like, I don't know, Jeremy or something. Like
if it's Jeremy, I'm going insane.
I think it well, if we just had to pick like a random name, I feel like Isaac is really cute. Obviously calls to Binding of Isaac, but also the reason I came to this conclusion is in VIP, the little brother's name is Ike, and that is short for Isaac. And as soon as I read that, I remember turning to Corey and saying, so if you play the game right, the sixth kid that this pig kidnaps in hopes of taking to a back closet to murder, or like the fifth kid that gets kidnapped in the hopes of being murdered, is the little brother who gets abandoned at Freddy's and has a very special Freddy's plush and like is described as
a name that means Isaac, aka the sacrificial second son.
Yeah, I saw your post on that.
But like obviously that's probably a stretch.
It might be a stretch, but
if Crying Child has a name that doesn't need to mean anything, Isaac would be really cute.
I think it's British enough too.
Michael and Elizabeth are both biblical names.
Yeah.
Well, they also have the other two have biblical names, but also like
William.
I don't think William is. No, William's like.
No, William's not.
No,
William's not.
I'm saying Michael and Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Because Michael, that name is referencing the angel of judgment who like judges souls at the end times. So there is that.
I was gonna make a joke about like all the biblical names, and then I was just like, no, wait, never mind. They're in Utah. Like everyone's
they're in Utah. That's why.
Yeah,
that's why they have
Utah.
Charlotte is the outlier.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's also. I mean, we've yeah. No, sorry. Continue. Yeah. We've talked about it before.
Okay. My favorite version of Fredbear that I think you guys probably forgot. He's here, he's there, he's everywhere.
Everywhere. You gotta call Psychic
Fredbear.
That's probably so out of sync, dude.
It was very out of sync. I can tell you.
It sounded awful. I love it.
It sounded awful, and I only joined in on the Psychic Friend Fredbear because I knew that if I joined it earlier, I was going to ruin it even more. So.
Yeah.
Okay, let's take turns.
God, I remember when oh my god, when it was again like it was having an out of body experience watching Matt Pat watch our goddamn video. But when we got to that point, he like pointed at the screen and was like, "My impact." That's my contribution.
Dude, we sing that every time like Fredbear Plus shows up in any given point. Like every day we're like, he's here.
Oh yeah, I forgot about Ike. Also, he used to have a FNAF centered plushie being the cupcake that he would talk to.
And then went missing?
Yeah.
Yeah. He just says it ran away.
We've been on FNAF Exile. Has anyone like theorized about him saying his plush ran away and then like they never bring that up again?
Yeah, what's up with that?
It's all remnant guys. It's all connected.
He ran away to the bunker.
What was that?
Yeah, it had to go.
It was everyone moved on except Susie's dog.
Susie's dog just goes from cupcake thing to cupcake thing, just like tormenting people. I mean, it's just like a chihuahua or something. Like it's gonna do that.
Wait. Well, that's like the last OG animatronic. Like in the new games, just all of them are all freed except for the cupcake. And that's like the little.
Well, yeah, I think they do have
the one you should not have killed, Susie's dog.
Don't they have the cupcake animatronic like on display in Rockstar Row? So like, that thing didn't burn. Maybe Susie's dog is just running around.
He's just sitting behind the glass cage, just whimpering.
Around, like,
oh my god! No, we're all wrong. We're all wrong. Susie's dog was put in the conglomerate it's in the Enter conglomerate.
Oh no!
Is that why he's like that? There's also a dog in there.
That would make
he's got the motherfucking dog in him.
It's like everyone and the dog.
Yeah.
Elizabeth hops in and she's like, "Why is there a dog in here?"
And Gabriel's like, don't question it. We stopped wondering.
He got that motherfucking dog in him.
Oh
my
my
god.
If they can
Hon-
scoop Bonbon, they can scoop the cupcake. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Every now
How
and
would
again, though,
scooping
we
the
like to just
cupcake
sit
work?
there and like
Over the mouth.
You just put him on
You
a
aim it,
stool,
you
like you put him on a high
literally,
chair.
like scoop the cake part out and leave the wrapper.
Oh no,
The
though,
wrapper's
with the
also
cupcake, you might not have to scoop it. He could probably just like open it up.
grab the little bone.
Like it doesn't seem hard.
Yeah, easy
Like,
enough.
He
okay.
opens it and the dog is inside completely fine, and he's like, "What the fuck?"
It's been alive the whole time.
It's been 25 years.
Like, I could have sworn it was dead when I put this thing in here. How did it happen?
How did that happen?
I don't even think this is an immortality thing. I think the dog's just messed up.
The dog is the vengeful spirit. It's the one you should not have killed. It kept itself alive via pure rage.
Yeah, every now and again we like to just like joke, like we'll pick a random character and go like, "This is actually the one you should not have killed."
Oh yeah, I also
we
do
were
that all the
joking
time.
that with because at first we were joking that with
Nope.
Susie. It's like, well, if you go from narrative significance, Susie would be the one you should not have killed because we know the most about her. If we go
Yeah.
from that one specific FNAF world reference, that's actually Freddy and not Fredbear, and therefore Gabriel's the one you should not have killed because he wants his goddamn spaghetti wheels.
He wants his spaghetti wheels so bad.
So we'll just find a character, but you know, it's Susie's dog. I can believe it.
There's only one problem.
The dog.
I have an idea.
Well,
The face of the
what
one you
was-
should not have killed is not the face
Yeah.
of the one you should not have killed. It's the dog invoking Susie's face.
Yeah.
Boom.
The dog was fine with it getting run over by a drunk driver, but killing Susie was too far.
Yeah.
That's just how
Yeah.
dogs
Here's an
are.
idea. The face is the dog's human Sona. Is that your human Sona?
The dog is a reverse
That also
furry.
reminds me.
cringe.
That also reminds me, because Corey, I still need to read you Coming Home. I've avoided it
Oh,
because
yeah.
it makes me bawl
Because
like a
it's
baby.
sad. Coming home in the real Jake.
but,
Like, why? Oh my god.
When Susie and her dog, when Susie, because Susie's dog never comes up in Coming Home, but she mentions that Samantha looks like a Pekingese dog that their neighbor used to have, and I remember looking it up and going, "Oh, that actually kind of looks like what the cupcake dog could be."
Well, because
so
we have a sprite of her dog, and the thing is apparently in the movie. I haven't seen it for myself, but so this is rumor. In the movie, in the background, there's a really old, so like from the original '80s poster for a missing Chihuahua, and I was like, I've seen the cupcake in the movie. That thing acts like a Chihuahua. So my
Yeah.
pitch was, I looked at Pekingese Chihuahua mixes, and certain ones do look like the dog sprite of the dead dog, of Susie's dead dog. So that's my pitch for what the dog
Smiling
is.
dead dog.
the
Yeah.
first one that comes up on
Really
Google
fun.
right now is even like the same colors.
Yeah, like it is kind of close. So like, hey, I could see it. And it's like, I mean, I remember Connie's original pitch was not to bring up Doctor Who Cyberman area again, but her pitch was like, is this like how in the alternate dimension, instead of having a daughter, Rose is a dog? It's like where her sister Samantha is the dog in the game verse. Like, is that what they're getting at? Which would be funny.
Samantha's the dog.
The dog.
God, I
She's got that
love
dog
the
in her.
I love the shorts, but yeah, Coming Home makes me like so emotional. Like
Mhm.
that one was just so good.
Yeah, they're like,
Yeah.
hey, reminder, these are dead children.
Yeah,
Which
like,
actually,
yeah.
question for you two: what's your guys' favorite
Ooh.
short story?
Oof.
Ooh.
I
I
did
have
a
it-
tier list a short while ago. Generic. I think Into the Pit is the best one overall, but in terms of theme, I still have to think about that a bit. Because there's a lot of
Yeah, I
stories.
haven't read
Yeah,
all
because
the.
best and favorite is different.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah,
this
yeah.
one's the best written, best done, and
Yeah,
this one's
Into the
my
Pit is
favorite.
arguably the best, but probably not my favorite.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I feel like I haven't read enough of the Faster Frights, so I'm not gonna rank them. I've only read 3, but Tales of
Okay.
Pizzaplex, I feel like the best is the Mimic in terms of just overall.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
my favorite, it's kind of a strange pick. It's gonna be Pressure or Bleeding Heart, and
No,
that's I'm
Pressure,
sorry, it's really
and
weird.
those are both good.
Pressure's good. Hey,
Okay.
you know what? Pressure's great because like that's a way to go out. Like
yeah,
killing a
it's
pedophile
amazing.
to death. That is the way to go out.
More like a
he-
child
I can
murder,
like
but
he
sure.
talks- Yeah.
Just a William
Well,
Afton wannabe.
he's 'cause I get that we don't want to
Maybe.
talk like I guess, but like when they said he's Luca literally calls him like a pervert at one point. Like,
Yeah, so I
but
think that was
what
the
I find
implication.
Yeah,
I do
but-
Which is probably the most
I
they're
like
ever going
the-
to do with that because Scott's uncomfortable about it. So you know what? That's fair.
I do like I like the framing of having a security guard try to kidnap a kid and Springtrap kills him over it.
Yeah,
That, like,
that's
Yeah.
really
love
cool.
that.
That's a cool
Yeah.
role
And, like-
reversal thing. Yeah.
like the internal like the narrative the narration describing being springlocked is so good.
Yeah, I mean, so much
Yeah.
of that one would be hard to do in a graphic novel form. Just it's similar to my opinion that there's no good like Rebecca movie adaptation because so much of that of pressure is in his own head.
Yeah.
And he
Yeah.
literally can't talk at one point.
I-
So it's like it would hard to do in a visual medium.
I feel
Yeah,
like Luca is the most relatable Tales of Pizzaplex character. I don't know why. I feel like
Yeah.
yeah, he
I want
is
to be
nice.
Luca.
It's because hi, I took a sociology class. We all are affected by peer pressure. If you think you're
Yeah.
not, yes, you are. Joke's on
hate
you. Joker
like
moment.
that.
We live in a society. You're affected by peer pressure.
Be
Yeah.
affected, be affected, be affected.
And the
You are not
double
immune to peer pressure.
the double entendre of pressure being peer pressure
Yeah.
and springlock pressure, that's
Yeah.
so good.
Mhm.
I really
know,
like that
it's so-
story.
it's-
Pressure like a drip, drip, drip
That was a
that'll
good
never
one.
stop.
God.
But my favorite Tales is probably GGY. But
GGY.
Yeah, that was good.
GGY is good.
I don't.
I was gonna say
Like,
Buddy Call.
I-
Buddy Call's really good.
Bunny Call is
Oh
good as
well,
well.
that's Frights. Frights.
Yeah.
Frights is different.
I was gonna say for my
like,
favorite and also like a pitch for one of the best written. Bunny Call was written very well.
Bunny Call and Coming
Yeah.
Home are my favorites from Frights.
Submechanophobia
Yeah.
is really good. I really like that one.
Good
Ooh,
also.
yeah. That one's fun.
I love Submechanophobia is great.
But hey, speaking of making games out of these shorts, when will we get some Mechanophobia like as like a
20
We're
We're
years.
getting
detective
GGY.
game?
Oh my god, they should do GGY as a game. That would be so funny.
But
Okay,
we're still
so
going
here's
through
the
Frights.
So the issue is here's the issue raised is that the point is that you get a description but you don't know his name is Gregory until the very very end. Here's my
Yeah, but we
pitch for a
did this
visual
early.
medium. Instead, so that we don't have to see him until the very end, they're having class on Zoom calls and their nicknames are like their usernames that they're using, so we just don't see that his
Oh.
name is Greg. Because then it can incorporate like, hey, let's real quick just like change our nickname, like our Discord nicknames to match our things. And like GGY's camera mysteriously doesn't work or something.
And then
That's
also
my
at the
pitch.
end, the guy just like removes his nickname and then just immediately shows like GGY.
Well, I was
Greg
thinking
Leisure.
that we see him physically
Greg.
because he actually does meet him in timeout, but like timeout.
Yeah.
Fucking-
Yeah,
what's it called?
timeout. It's called
I was homeschooled.
detention.
Detention. That's
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
But
Oh, I'm also
Sorry, I was homeschooled. I didn't have that.
honestly, Bunny Call.
Wait,
I think
wait,
when
wait.
when
Wait,
we were
wait,
reading
wait.
Frights,
We're both of you homeschooled?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, because me and Nye
Me
are
more
also
than Cody,
homeschooled.
technically, because
Wait, we're all
I got-
homeschooled.
Really?
Yeah.
that's
Yo.
his.
Maybe that's why
What
we
the-
ended up
what
in
is-
FNAF.
Yeah. What is it about homeschooling that brings kids to Five Nights at Freddy's? More
I
time
don't
to
know.
I think-
secretly watch Five Nights at
Murder
Freddy's.
is-
I guess.
Considering how
Me neither.
popular Five Nights at Freddy's is, I think public schoolers might be into it too, but I'm not sure.
Well,
I
there is
don't
that one
know.
story
I
of
don't know
when the
about that.
original FNAF 2 came out, and they were passing a thumb drive with FNAF 2 on it around the classroom, so all the kids could play it.
Oh,
I read that story online, and that's just like really cute.
yeah.
But yeah, I remember saying when reading Frights that Bunny Call and Man in Room 1280 are probably the ones that would work best in a visual medium.
Yeah.
Man in Room
Mhm.
1280 especially has a lot of visual
Cues.
like
if you're fine doing the
Descriptors.
grossness of that, then like yeah.
well like
Oh,
the-
except
like
that they
the
can't
scenes
describe
specifically
him
where, like,
pissing
the-
himself anymore. Aww.
like the scene
They'll just have to
specifically
show
of, like,
it.
the nurse like with all the lit candles and Andrew comes in and like throws the needle and then like blows all the candles out, like that would be so cool to see, like
Mhm.
Yeah.
A lot of that stuff would be
But,
fun to see visually,
which
including
also reminds
William
me,
Afton
speaking
pissing
of
himself. Oh yeah, I forgot
making
that
that
about
stuff
that
in
with
the
Man in Room
games.
1280 because it's not just the arm thing about Man in Room 1280. Bro has bowels. Like they describe him shitting and pissing himself. I don't think Scrap Trap has any of that. It's still in there.
Good point.
Yeah.
I don't think
Also,
he can
someone
pee
said,
himself anymore.
yeah.
But Court, that does remind me with turning
That
all
was
this
my.
stuff into
Connie did not
games.
warn me. Connie just forgot and did not warn me about that. So when she read me Man in Room 1280 and it's like the bag filled or whatever, describing it, I started cheering. I was like, yes, he's pissing himself.
But speaking of turning all this stuff into games, we know Fetch is next, but I feel like I don't know how, but I think they're doing 1:35 a.m. specifically because Hot Topic did release that Ella shirt with her saying "Come play with me," which is more of 1:35 a.m. characterization than the novels.
135, I think
And
it'll work.
Hot Topic also dropped that into the pitch shirt like months before that game was announced because they did it on accident. Like,
Yeah.
I
But they're
think we
gonna
might be
need
getting something.
It
they're
would
gonna
be
need to
a
make it better because it would just be like waking up and going to sleep simulator by just like getting shocked whenever a jump scare whenever
Or
you wake
it
up.
could be FNAF 4, but it's just Eleanor trying to kill. Eleanor's trying to interview.
Eleanor's putting nightmare gas in your room.
What a shame.
Which, speaking of which, when we do get to that, Corey, when we do get to that Eleanor video, we need to figure out how to just do the Agatha All Along song, but like a full cover of just Eleanor, because that was like that entire second to last epilogue.
It's been Eleanor all along. That's all I know from the song because I don't watch Marvel. I haven't watched any Marvel movies for like I'd say 6 to 7 years, and I think I'm a better person because of it.
Wow.
Yeah. But
I think I'm a happier person.
I know the Agatha All Along song because it's catchy, and I was like, that's literally like the second to last epilogue where literally Eleanor's like showing
I did this. They were like, no, we need to wrap these books up, and we got some extra, so we can't do it with the agony creature. We got to wrap these books up with something else. And they were like,
Hey guys,
people like Eleanor.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, because of the real answer of what was going on with her is she was kind of shoehorned in.
Like, that's our theory. We don't know that. But from a writing standpoint, it seems real. It really seems like
Connie has a creative writing degree.
Yeah, from a writing standpoint. And if this isn't the case, then they just wrote this bad. But it really seems like they thought they were getting 7 books, and then they got a bunch extra, and they were like, shoot, we already used the agony creature. Write Eleanor into that epilogue as a failsafe. And then,
because the books really stop. They really stop
stop
being FNAF after 7. They start getting weird after 7.
Yeah.
After 7,
yeah,
that's
like they didn't
Gumdrop
know what they were doing.
Angel, right? That's after 7, there's the fish, the Bonnie fish things.
Sea Bonnies,
Into the pit. Not into the pit. Kids at play.
Kids at
what
play.
I was saying is into the pit, having the kids
in the flesh as well.
Having the kids at play statue with the kids at play with the blood under it was so funny to me. I love that
blood,
so
all
much.
the
so
organs, the hair, the skin, everything. It's just.
Oh yeah, that was one of the gorier ones.
Yeah.
But I'm sure they were like.
That was like, hey. What if we're just gonna do like mostly like kind of a boring story and then just like suddenly he TFs into like a kids at play side, but like gory? Wouldn't that be cool? And everyone was like, yeah.
I was so happy to see that Into the Pit. That was so exciting. I was like, yes.
Yeah.
The Pizza Kid also being referenced was funny to me. But honestly,
Pizza Kid is one Connie has grief with because she feels like they pussied out.
Well, I feel like they should have never told us what happened to Marley, because just saying like, oh, she's fine, like how is she fine? She fell from like 50 feet
even into a vat at the very least.
Not only was she just fine, but she immediately said, I'm gonna fake my death about this, instead of like, I don't know, having broken bones. Like,
yeah,
maybe she never fell.
It did not make sense, and it felt.
Well, it doesn't make sense probably because
they just were just like, well, they were like, well, we need the role reversal ending where Peyton falls, but like I think it should have been ambiguous, like what happened to Marley. That would have made more sense.
I feel like a really impactful ending is, since a lot of these stories like to switch character POV, switch to another character's POV and they see Peyton fall, and you have like, and whether or not it was on purpose or not is ambiguous. I think that would have been really interesting.
Well, that's what they did, Corey, is they did that, but they switched to Marley. And it was like Marley.
No,
POV.
sorry, I don't know the difference between the two of them. Whichever one that survived like another character sees her fall, and like after you went through reading like her torment and stuff, you're like, what happened, you know?
Yeah. But
Yeah.
the other one I have grief with is Find Player 2 because it was almost peak. But when I got to the end and I was like, wow, that was a really good story. And then I sat and 5 seconds later I said, wait, when Amy reported her friend missing, did she not tell anyone the last place she saw her? Because
Oh, yeah.
like I get if like they definitely implied that like the tunnels were not supposed to be accessed. Like they were like, oh, it's never been cleaned. Like you have to sneak in to get there. They definitely imply that. But like Amy like reported like the creepy guy who saw Mary Jo, and that's like how he got connected to Mary Jo, I assume. Like, but did the police never ask her, hey, you were the last person to see her. Where was the last place you saw her?
Well,
Like that's the
if you
first
talk
question
to
you
this,
ask.
here's the thing. It's like a secret that like the kids are keeping. Like there's these secret tunnel systems. If the police talked to enough kids, one of them would let it spill. Absolutely.
Well,
Kids are
Corey,
not that strong.
Corey, you haven't read that one yet. Amy doesn't know it's a secret. She
Oh.
thinks that it's just like Amy just thinks it's a cool thing that like kids who go
That
to
she
Freddy's
would've-
long enough know about.
That she would have told them we were in those tunnels.
And if I recall correctly, she mentions it to her therapist friend, which means she isn't keeping it a secret as an adult. So like, why wouldn't someone say, hey, there's tunnels in your walls, can we check there?
Yeah.
It just that's
yeah,
the other way of
almost good.
That
And
whole
then
setting is kind of
Connie has a great
unrealistic,
one,
though.
Not the story of. Yeah.
Yeah.
No, not the story of, but the fandom's response to Drowning. If you want to
I
air
love
that out
Drowning so
now.
much, and I will argue. Listen, if we get a game and a little girl with black pigtails comes in and says, "Hi, my name is Cassidy. I'm the vengeful spirit and the ghost inside of Golden Freddy," I'll be like, "Awesome, cool, love to see you." If she says, "I am also the girl from Drowning," I will say this isn't real and it's not happening. Because the girl from Drowning, if that's anyone, because it could very well just be like a grief manifestation. If that thing is anyone, that is Charlie. She has a creepy music box in her room.
Okay, that's true.
That is Charlie.
And the picture is of like a brunette dad, mom, and daughter, which I think this is the real purpose of Drowning. It could be like telling us, oh, Charlie is still at play, or oh, like Glitch Trap has Charlie stuck in the system. Whatever. What it really tells us is that in the picture, there's a man, a woman, and their daughter, and no son. Sammy does not real.
Boom.
Listen, I've said this before and I will
We
say
won.
it again. The novel universe is the only universe where Charlie didn't absorb her twin in the womb. Every other universe, Charlie ate her twin.
Okay. I'll buy it.
Like, yeah,
Reaction.
I'm sorry that we went on a book tangent there. I love the books, but
Yeah.
also like the girl in Drowning is like has gray skin, gray clothes, and black hair, like
Yeah.
her sprite from FNAF 6.
Very
and
Charlie.
green highlights like her green bracelet.
Like her sprite from FNAF 6.
Literally everyone. And also, it's like, oh, what connection does she have to Drowning? I don't know. She died in the rain.
She fell over into like a puddle. Dude.
And drowned.
Oh, yeah. The
She
drowning
came down in a fucking bubble dog. Sorry.
What actually happened is William was gonna stab her.
100% correct.
So William was gonna stab her, right? But it's his first murder, so he misses, and she drowned in a puddle. But continue.
I mean, she also is farther away from where he would have killed her, so it's not impossible that she did just like fall into a puddle and suffocate.
Well, the thing with the Red Lake is one that does 100% track, and I do think really points to Golden Freddy being spring locked, whoever the Golden Freddy kid is.
Which is part of our theory.
Yeah, but like connecting it to the short Drowning specifically, I think is a bit of a stretch first because that's obviously Charlie and like who died in the rain. But also I think you can drown in your own blood if you get stabbed in the right way. Or the wrong way, technically.
And we know for at least the other 5 kids it was a knife. We don't know about Charlie. I don't know if he had a knife with him in the car. Probably did because he's a freak. So and he didn't hit her with the car because he just walks out of the car. But either way, it was raining, water everywhere. Well, my thought was
if he walks out of the car and then she dies, have we considered?
My thought was even if Charlie didn't drown, the puppet kind of did because the water like sorted it out and killed it. which is, you
Corey,
know,
he
if,
walks out of
if
the
anything,
car.
Gerard the puppet kind of did.
He parks the car, walks out, and then she dies.
Mhm.
Have we considered that he got out of the car, picked her up, put her in front of the car, got back in the car, and just
Hit Charlie just walking around. Hit me with your car.
he's like, yo.
The school year was about.
Sorry,
to start.
again, I feel like we're taking over. We just
Yeah.
like to ramble.
Nah, I think it's fine. Also, I just feel like whenever I read the books, I feel so bad, and I have so much empathy for every character in Tales of the Pizza Books.
Mhm.
I don't know if there's one character I really hate. All of them, I'm just like, why did you do that? Why would you go to
Yeah,
that?
There was
they
one I
moved- they moved
hated.
away from like.
Yeah.
Who was the one I
Why would
hated?
you? Your friend. What?
There was
Which
one
one did you
character I
hate? Which
hated.
character? Who?
No, but it was someone who I hated, and they died, and I was so happy they died. It read like a good ending to me. I need to find the story.
Oh, in the flesh? No.
Oh yeah, no.
Yeah,
That's
because
my Frights guy.
a
I
good
hated
amount
him
of
so
Frights-
bad. I'm
Yeah.
so glad he
A-
gave birth to
A good amount of
Springtrap.
Frights.
Oh, Somnophobia was
That
that
was
guy
the
for me.
funniest.
I kind of hated Somnophobia, the guy. I don't
Yeah.
know why. I just feel like I didn't really
Yeah,
like him. I don't know why I
Yeah,
did.
I can get that. To me, it seemed like he just had a
Yeah.
lot of trauma and OCD. Like,
Yeah,
Yeah.
but
but
I think
also
in Tales
Somnophobia,
they
that dog
moved
is
away
innocent. I
from
will die
like
on that hill.
they moved away from we're gonna make you hate the main character so that you like are okay with them dying, and more you're gonna feel bad about this child's death.
Yeah. And I think that's a good thing.
Sad when they die.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Well, it's like it's, I
Because,
mean,
like, together-
horror movies do that too. I mean, think about like the slasher formula. If it starts with like the bratty like whatever girl, and then it goes to like the like whatever jock, and then it goes to the characters you actually like. You know, it didn't do that in the Mimic. They kind of took care of the football people away from the other two, but you know, even then it was kind of a cider character that it's like, oh, you don't really know this kid yet.
Yeah, like
And then
with
right after
Together
that, it was the girl's
Forever-
best friend. So they were just like,
Yeah.
with Together Forever, they like
Mhm.
straight up like they made those two girls so cartoonishly unlikable that like it just didn't feel real. Like the gore was written well, the rest of it was like so like Saturday morning cartoon
Yeah.
bully that it was like funny. And I'm just like, okay, guys, you
and
can
I
make
think
this a
they
little
moved
more
away from that
realistic.
with Tales. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, from
Yeah,
someone
they-
who's read all
Tales
of it,
is
you
better
can definitely
writing-wise.
tell that Tales is better written. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I think what
Even
I
if
said
it's not as like
is-
interesting or like spooky, like I mean, it's
Well, what I
better
said-
written.
what I said is Tales is better written, but I feel like Frights is more memorable.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lala's
And
game.
that might be because Frights was allowed to go all because like the Tales story people talk about the most is the one
Yeah,
where they go
Nightmare
all
Gas
out
so
and
good.
have nightmare gas. Like and like that's not necessarily that doesn't necessarily make them worse or bad. It's just something to
Yeah.
know like that I feel like Frights like although I will also say my unpopular Frights opinion is yes, sea bonnies are weird, but I think the short was pretty decently written.
Yeah.
Yeah. The thing is,
short
the
itself
weirder
is well written. The
stories,
premise is out there, but like
the weirder stories are
Yeah.
usually well written.
Yeah.
Like Fazgoo.
Yeah.
Fazgoo is a good
Oh
story,
no.
Yeah.
but it doesn't
I've
fit the
never read that,
medium,
but I can only think.
right? It's a
Yeah.
good goosebump story.
my favorite experience with listening to the shorts on audiobook was he told me everything started and I'm like, wow, I know nothing about this one. I can't wait to find out what it's about. And then like 10-15 minutes in, he's like, you're gonna take out your Fazgoo kit, and I was like, I know what this one is.
Yeah.
I know now.
Yeah.
So we've talked a lot. This is the longest episode ever. So I want to do a quick
Yes.
yes/no question to
Sorry.
finish it
Yeah,
up.
I figured.
No, it's
Okay.
good. It's good to have the
Gotcha.
opportunity to talk to you.
Yeah. It's
But
good.
the last quick yes/no question: do you still fully stand by to your like theory, like your big timeline? Do you
Yes.
still stand by it?
Is there anything you would change? That's
Other
okay.
than mentioning certain things to cover our bases, like
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
the second light in the eye might just be a lighting thing, and
Yeah.
it's
We-
possibly
we-
Charlie,
we
it's
forgot
possibly
to
a lighting
mention-
thing.
We
It's
forgot to
50
mention
I'm
Elizabeth and
50-50
Midnight
on it.
Wilderness.
Yeah, we forgot to mention
Yeah.
that.
'Cause we just straight up were like, yeah, that'll be obvious. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
again, my brother bear analogy. But I would probably cut down the mentions of the Fredbear mask. I do still think that the Springtrap suit is Fredbear, but if it is the Springtrap
I think
jester,
it's likely to be
don't-
Fredbear, but it could be anything else. I don't know.
yeah, like like the Into the Pit thing, I will say the reason I was like, girl, you have the same face is literally just because I wanted to use that meme. It's my favorite meme ever made.
I mean, also
like
they're similar enough. People are
it's
like, it's fair that it's not exact, but also this is Five Nights at Freddy's. Nothing is ever exact from game
Yeah.
to game.
Yeah.
Let's be real.
Bonnie
Yeah, my-
Bully's skin changes every single
Yeah.
appearance.
Yeah, yeah.
It's
Speaking
always
of which-
like that.
Literally, the only
Bonnie
reason his
Bully's
skin
dad-
changes every appearance is because of lighting purposes. And once his sprite is holding
Yeah.
the crying child, which means it needs to be a darker color. The first appearance, he has the same skin tone as the crying child. It's literally just so he can carry him, and you can tell the sprites apart. Hi, I'm an artist. That's literally why his skin is darker in that thing.
Bonnie Bully
No
is
way.
Cassie's dad, right? We've all agreed on that.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
A
one where
Bonnie
like
Bully, yeah.
I have no issue contesting that. I fully believe that one.
Yeah.
I remember when we
He's not
when what-
Fitzgerald.
Oh yeah. When
No, that was
Help
debunked.
Wanted 2 first came out.
Yeah.
Okay, when Help Wanted 2 first came out, we were watching Rytoast play it, which was awesome. But I remember I don't remember what point I made a joke about Bonnie Bully dad, and Corey was like, "What the hell is that?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, Pat presented the idea that Bonnie Bully might be her dad because he likes Bonnie and they have the same color scheme." And she's like, and I was like, I think that's cool, but I don't really see why he would get back into FNAF stuff after all that. And she's like, yeah, okay. And then we just like went back to the live stream, and like 3 hours later, he pulls out the Bonnie mask, and we were like, oh my god.
And we were like, okay,
Yeah.
never mind. I retract my previous statements.
Yeah.
Well,
it's one of those things
yeah,
where like
it's pretty
it
crazy.
would be nice to get some kind of it would be nice to get for our video. It would be nice to get some kind of confirmation. I mean, because I remember like when Matt had posted one video and Scott was like, "You're 50% right." It's like, would love to get something like that. We won't, and I'm not going to ask for that. To the point where like people have asked like, "Oh, are you going to be on Rise podcast?" I'm not reaching out.
Like if he reaches out, like we have too much anxiety to do that. Like you guys reached out to us, and that's why we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was a
Like,
resend of the email.
We were
also.
like straight up. We're not gonna be like, hey, can we like show up in your space and start talking? Like obviously
No.
we
Yeah.
did. I'm sorry, but
I mean, reaching
like,
out to
you
people
have to
is my worst fear. It's
Hey,
like it's not usually.
you called us in like vampires. You invited us in like vampires, and now we're talking about Sonic the Hedgehog.
Yeah.
Yep. Usually it's
POV,
not
your
doing the
cousins approach
talking.
you at the family gathering. I will never forget that comment. Like it was one of the earliest comments on our video was someone saying POV, your cousins approach you at the family gathering and you've entered unskippable dialogue.
Yeah.
No, wait.
Well, and
That's
because-
that was the crazy part because I have 2 cousins that are sisters and they look like you guys and they're the same height.
The hell?
And they both like FNAF.
Oh,
And
no.
they both approached me at a family meeting to talk about FNAF. And so for a long time, I actually thought they were you guys.
What the hell?
Yeah, I'm not even kidding.
Like you
I was like,
asking your
"Wait,
cousins, like, "Hey, are you guys?
cousins?
Are you these two guys?" Like,
Hey, are you dual process theory? Do you happen to know a certain process theory?
We
A
had to
certain
tell our cousin
duo.
because we do have a cousin, and the only reason she didn't get the lowdown before we posted the video is we know she's more into Walton Files.
Okay.
Oh, the
yeah, and then we
Files.
we responded to that comment with that, and a bunch of people are just like, your cousin's valid. And then we told our cousin that at the next family gathering, and we are like, now a bunch of random people online are saying you're valid. And she was like, what?
Yeah.
It was a happy surprise for her. She was having a fun time.
There are
If she ever wants to do anything on our channel, we should just have her explain the plot of Danganronpa to us.
Oh, I know the plot of Danganronpa. Don't.
I know
It's
the
my one bad.
basics.
It's my one bad. Like, it's my one thing.
I know it's Among Us, and Silver the Hedgehog is the
Fingers in his ass guy.
the discourse boy.
You
Yeah.
can see the fingers in his ass guy.
Well, he's also the one everyone discourses over.
Yeah, which is funny because he's
But
a kind of straightforward character. Like, I
but
can
in
get
case you
it,
guys
but-
watched our last podcast, yeah, the update from not podcast, our last live stream, the update from then is I now know all the Little Nightmares lore.
Okay.
Yes, she has now watched Little Nightmares.
I have to get into that.
I actually
other games lore.
read the
Yeah.
it's really good.
Little
I
Nightmares
actually
is
read
good.
Princess
the
is something you
comics.
need to get into. But you need to play Slay the Princess. Beat that game.
That game's too
I played
expensive.
it, I
I'm not
loved
buying
it,
that.
dude.
I love
100%
Slay the
I loved the
Princess.
princess.
I'll
Corey
watch
100%
Markiplier.
of that
Voice.
game.
I'll
I
watch
100%
Markiplier
into
play
the
it.
princess.
Same, yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people did. I bought it and then just didn't play it for a while, and then I played it, and like the next day Markiplier played it, so it blew up like right after I started, and I was like, oh
Yeah.
well.
Sure, let's do it. So,
like, all right,
so,
well, I get to vlog a bunch of cool fan art.
so, do you want to finish it around
Yeah.
here? Do we have anything else to say, or are we good?
Okay. Yeah, I
I
think
don't
we're
think
good.
so.
Well, in that
I
case,
mean, if
thanks
y'all
for
don't have
everyone
any
who's
more
still
questions,
watching.
then-
It was really
Yeah.
fun hanging out with everyone. We talked about a lot of unrelated things, but that's great. And I think I can speak for all of us
What
when
happens
we say
you
we had
invite,
fun.
You invite some neurodivergent girls onto your podcast.
There's a
Oh,
reason
come
descriptor
on.
videos
Every
is
single
what I'm
FNAF
saying.
theorist is at least a little bit neurodivergent. So, you know.
Yeah.
Like,
Ugh.
the last thing I do, speaking of which, last unrelated thing I do want to say is, like, Abby was like so autistic in the movie, and I'm like, did they do that on purpose? Because
they did.
all of us
They bring
are
that
just
up in the
so
novel.
neurodivergent.
They bring it up in the novel. So,
Oh,
Do
interesting.
they
You
say
read
she's
novels,
autistic?
didn't you?
no, she say
Because
like
I know
she's
they
different
said
from the
she's
other
meant to be
kids, and they go really into that and like how she's special and whatever. So
Yeah,
they really go
Autistic
into that.
Queen.
Yeah.
she's
Yeah.
a changeling.
So yeah, bye
Yeah,
everyone.
the Fae are real. They're just avoiding William Afton.
Okay, so yep, bye. Thanks for watching everyone.
Yeah.
We talked about a
Yeah,
lot
thank
of
you guys for
unrelated
watching.
stuff.
Thank
We
you
had
for having
fun
us.
and talked very little about
Yeah.
FNAF, but that's fine. We talked a lot
Yeah.
about
I
FNAF
think
though.
we talked a good amount about FNAF.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we did.
Yeah, I think we're good. So yeah,
Yeah.
bye.